That is not a sign of weakness.
Bolton is in Jerusalem to meet with his Israeli and Russian counterparts. He met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu a little earlier today. Syria and the influence of Iran in the ongoing Syrian civil war is the focus of these meetings, but a significant amount of attention right now is going towards the tension between the United States and Iran.
Neither Iran nor any other hostile actor should mistake U.S. prudence and discretion for weakness. No one has granted them a hunting license in the Middle East.
Prime Minister Netanyahu also commented on what he called Iran's active aggression.
Fox's Ellison Barber. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, meantime, is headed to Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates for talks on Iran. Pompeo says he wants to make sure the U.S. and its allies are all strategically aligned. New sanctions set to go into effect against Iran tomorrow. President Trump calling them major retaliation after the Iranians shot down that U.S. drone last week. U.S. officials also telling the Associated Press the U.S. launched a cyber attack against the Iranians Thursday evening to disable the country's rocket and missile launching capabilities. Raids targeting migrant families for deportation were to have been launched today. They've been postponed for 2 weeks. Acting ICE Director Mark Morgan telling Fox leaks to the news media are to blame and he was protecting ICE agents. This is Fox News.
When it comes to power and performance, nothing compares to Dodge. And right now at Cars Plus in Mighty, you can save thousands on many Dodge vehicles in stock during our Dodge Performance Days. Like a new 2019 Grand Caravan SE, save $4,250, or save $6,150 on a new Durango SXT. Looking for more power? Take home a new Charger SXT Plus today for only $37,689, or save over $7,000 on a new Challenger GT. Get more power and performance at Cars Plus in Mighty during Dodge Performance Days. Cars Plus, driven by you.
When your family needs medical care, how often do you find the need to visit multiple clinics? When a child has a serious ailment, do you find yourself meeting a medical provider only to learn you must go somewhere else for testing? At the FHP Health Center, you can find multiple specialties and testing services under one roof. And if your family needs urgent care, FHP is there for you with convenient weekday, evening, and weekend hours. Voted the island's best clinic and Pika's best 2 years in a row. FHP, our island, your clinic. Learn more at fhpguam.com.
New Hampshire officials this afternoon releasing the names of the 7 people killed Friday evening when a pickup pulling a trailer collided with a group of motorcyclists on a rural 2-lane highway. The victims, members of a motorcycle club for ex-Marines. Former Marines and their spouses, the victims. The driver of that truck said to be cooperating with authorities. State police calling the accident one of the worst they've ever investigated. Democrats running for president spending a lot of time in South Carolina this weekend.
Nobody used their time on the stage yesterday at the South Carolina Democratic Convention to criticize Joe Biden's comment about civility with segregationists. But he does have a new explanation, and that is that he was taken out of context. Joe Biden was well received here, but he did not have the loudest supporters here in South Carolina. Not even close. Kamala Harris had a drum line walking her to the stage, and Beto O'Rourke was surrounded by dozens, if not hundreds, of supporters, all chanting his name. He has seen his poll numbers plummet to the low single digits, so now he's trying to reclaim his place in the top tier with a renewed focus on President Trump's immigration policy.
Fox's Peter Ducey in Columbia. South Bend, Indiana, Mayor Pete Buttigieg not in South Carolina. He's attending a town hall meeting this hour to address a fatal police shooting in his city 1 week ago today. Some boos mixed in with the applause he received. The mayor saying,
I know how much concern there is in this city over the police-involved shooting that happened last Sunday. There's also a lot of concern around this city over the loss of life that took place early this morning in our city. 10 people were shot. At least one life has been lost.
The mayor's record on issues involving African Americans called into question. This is Fox News.
Regardless of your age, your eye health may be at significant risk from diabetes, cataracts, glaucoma, and retina problems. A comprehensive eye health exam is key to maintaining your precious gift of sight. Contact Island Eye Specialists to schedule an appointment today. That's 637-2020 or online at islandeyeguam.com. We accept Stay Well, Take Care, Calvo Select Care, and Net Care Health Insurance. Island Eye Specialists. We are your eye doctor.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 Data to Go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The US, China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is Data to Go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Hey, it's Mom. Somebody forgot to thaw the chicken, so meet us at Chili's for 2 for $25. Oh, and congratulate your sister for making the basketball team. She's thrilled. Love you. See you at Chili's.
Enjoy 2 full meal combos for $25. An appetizer, 2 mouth-watering entrees like our crispy chicken breast, smoked barbecue quarter leg, or smoked jalapeno cheddar sausage. Served with corn on the cob and french fries. 2 bold combos for $25. A full-on meal deal available nightly for a limited time. Together, we Chili's.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 6 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. A resolution proposed by Senator Telina Nelson is calling for the suspension of all construction activity on the live firing range complex on Northwest Field at Anderson Air Force Base. The first version of the resolution circulated on Friday called for a halt to clearing, pre-construction, data recovery, and construction activities of the firing range. It was initialed by Senators Therese Terlahi, Sabina Perez, Amanda Shelton, Kelly Marsh, Clint Rigel, Tina Rose Munya Barnes, Tello Taitagui, Will Castro, and Luis Munya. The Guam Daily Post has learned that questions were subsequently raised about the cost of stopping construction of the firing range, which would prompt layoffs of local workers and loss of income to Gov Guam. Some senators have since asked for their endorsement of the resolution to be removed. The resolution was subsequently revised to ease the tone, calling for a pause in firing range construction rather than a halt. Senator Nelson has called a news conference this morning at 8 a.m. at the legislature to officially announce the resolution. The Medical Cannabis Regulation Commission now has a list of 5 individuals interested in setting up a laboratory to conduct testing on medicinal marijuana. The cost of building a laboratory has been estimated at about $1 million. Public Health Director Linda DeNorsi is chairwoman of the Medical Cannabis Regulation Commission. She told the Guam Daily Post she's planning to meet with the individuals interested in opening the lab. They've all been invited to the next Cannabis Commission meeting. DeNorsi said public health's involvement will be regulatory only. It won't be involved in funding, building, or managing the laboratory. The laboratory will be run by a private business, she said, and it will be used only for testing marijuana to ensure there are no contaminants that could be detrimental to health. We'll have more news after this.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Mark Benventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumamo. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
This is Ronnie. Ronnie is about to break his piggy bank.
Come on, piggy bank.
Ronnie wants to upgrade his smartphone.
And this piggy's gonna help me.
If Ronnie had signed up for GTA's handset payment option, he could have selected a new smartphone with an affordable monthly plan.
I could have what?
Exactly. Sign up for HBO at GTA and don't break the bank.
I'm sorry, Piggy Bank.
Terms and conditions apply. GTA, we start with you.
10 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. Police are seeking the public's help in identifying two men who robbed the San Jose supermarket in Mighty early yesterday morning. Surveillance video shows two men entering the store about 4:40 a.m. They were wearing hooded sweatshirts and masks covered their faces. A cashier tried to run away, but one of the suspects, armed with a machete, appeared to threaten her and forced her to go to the cash register, where he grabbed the money and fled. The other suspect appeared to be carrying a black handgun. One suspect was wearing a gray or light-colored hoodie, a hat, khaki shorts, and white slippers. The other suspect wearing a red hoodie with light-colored pants. Anyone with information is asked to call the police dispatch line at 472-8911 or call Guam Crime Stoppers at 477-HELP. The Nama Congregational Church in Mighty has been burglarized 3 times this year, twice in the past week. The first break-in occurred in January when thieves stole a keyboard and some cash that had been donated to the church. Church member Lesleen Enoch told the Guam Daily Post that church members had to raise funds to get another keyboard. But again, last Tuesday, Enoch says she and others were getting ready to hold a youth meeting when they noticed the door handle to the meeting room was broken. Inside, they saw that the new keyboard they had just bought to replace the one stolen in January was missing. It, too, had been stolen. Burglars also stole the church's safe that contained offerings and donations, said Enoch. And again, last Friday, the church was broken into once more. But Enoch said nothing seemed to be missing because there was nothing more to take. It's not good to steal, especially from a church, said Enoch. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Daryl and Mike now take a look at our weather.
Daryl and Mike?
No, it's Ray. Is that who you're?
Hey, look who's back, everybody. Hi, Lucy. I'm home is the line here. 12 after in the morning. Mostly dry trade wind weather continuing for the first part of the week. We've got partly cloudy skies and some isolated showers in today's forecast. East winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. Daytime highs today should be about 90 degrees and overnight lows shooting about 79 degrees. Sunset at 6:50 and sunrise this morning was at 5:55, moving up a little bit later in the morning. It's going to continue to do that. Now, my understanding, we're on the other side of the solstice, right?
That's right. We sure are.
All right, and I've got an image now from the backyard at Pam's place up in Gigo, and I think you can see the last remnants of the solstice as it leaves the area.
Sure.
Just checking.
You just got back, bro. I'm not going to bring you down.
That's it. Don't burn me down with your jive talking, man. Let's take a look. What?
No radar. Yeah, there's no radar right now. Radar went down Saturday. They have yet to fix it, and I'm not really sure what's wrong. I'll check the status message in a little while.
It could be the Framis resurger. You know, I had the same problem.
Fire.
And so what I did was I got some of that coolant that you can buy at the hardware store. Right. Stuck that on the low pressure thing and cleared it right up. Maybe they can do the same thing with the radar. So I guess that leaves us with the satellite image then.
It does indeed, and we can see actually a lot of high clouds streaming over us right now. Not that much of the low clouds. Not really anything going on that would bring us any rain. If the radar were working, it wouldn't show us anything. So it's just as well that it's not. What we're looking at here is a bit of blobbage. That is 95W Invest down to our southeast. We also have 94W Invest off to the west out there. Now that one's going to move on over to the Philippines and give them some much needed rain.
Yep.
And they really need it because they're having rolling water shortages over there.
I was reading that. Yeah, I mean their water levels were low. So I took advantage of the fact that they had not yet started any of the conservation efforts and was taking very long showers.
There you go.
At the Maxims at the Resort World.
Yeah,
It was
do
nice.
it while you can, but looks like they'll be getting some relief from the 94W, 95W. Now, if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, I sent you a little picture and said, "Hey, man, check this out," and we'll keep an eye on it, but we can't talk about it yet. Now we can talk about it because it actually looks like that model 2 weeks out was forecasting this system weak to form and move just to our south. Again, that's what the forecasts are looking at right now. The Weather Service says, well, it might give us a little uptick in rainfall, but nothing too significant. It will pass far enough to the south. But the model was right, so that new algorithm is actually
seems to be working. Yeah,
we'll
spend some time talking about that a little bit later on. All right, that's plenty of news and weather together here on The Point, brought to you by Bank Pacific, where others put branches, they place roots.
We have some really great home loan programs, but did you know we have great business loans too? Every day we're working with companies to purchase equipment, to buy or build properties, or make tenant improvements. We offer letters of credit, working capital, and term loans, and we make all of our credit decisions here. Commercial loans, commercial banking from Bank Pacific.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Viva Bank Pacific.
The really fun portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by my pals over at Wendy's. Hit reset with their new Made to Crave menu with the savory mushroom, peppercorn mushroom melt burger, barbecue cheeseburger with sweet and smoky barbecue sauce, and this awesome bacon cheeseburger. It's got bacon in it, so you can have it for breakfast. It's your world, and Wendy's just rocked it. The new hamburgers on the Made to Crave menu. Find that today over at Wendy's. The portions of the program that I enjoy the most brought to you by American President Lines. APL is shipping the future. Guys over at Micronesia Renewable Energy say there's never been a better time to go solar, especially now. We've got batteries that can attach to your solar systems. 632-2613 for a free consultation. And, of course, Cars Plus, where they're still doing their performance days. Still apparently got some Challengers and Chargers left on the lot, so make sure you swing by the place up in Mighty and check them out today.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
It's too many airplane rides, too many days away from the radio station. I've forgotten how to do this thing that is the Ray Gibson Show. Somebody, I don't know, a tickler, just send me a nudge. What do I do next? Where do I go? What does the log say that I'm supposed to do? I may have to put this back from my crumbly memory. And it seems to me the first part of the program is always the acknowledgement that I work with broadcast professionals, including Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post. And I got to tell you, Kevin, it was
morning, Daryl. We were getting used to him last week.
Did you bring your other brother, Daryl?
Right? No, it's one of those things. Remember, what's the name of the movie where the guy's in San Diego and just pull whatever you want to on the teleprompter. He'll read it. So I think that was the last line in the script that Kevin has is a throw to Daryl to do the news. And the consummate professional, he read what was on the script. Anyway, Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post is here, and I got to tell you just how delightful. / nerve-wracking it was. I came back, and the last thing I did before I left was I asked Mike, pretty please, save up all the newspapers, save up all the Daily Post, so I can come back and read it all at my leisure and be able to put together, or at least, if for no other reason, have a sense of what the big stories were that were making headlines while I was gone. And I got to tell you, as I said, it was halfway amusing, and then the other half of it was, oh my God, it was just that eye roll moment. Just every time you turn a page, roll your eyes. Turn a page, roll your eyes. And I'm sitting there going, my God.
Guam is broken.
It's something broke around here, just significant brokage, and we'll talk about that because it seems to me nobody seems to have their eye on what I consider to be the big ball that's bouncing around in this town. We're talking about balloons and plastic straws, and we're going to the only thing that seems to be having any significance at all in terms of construction around here, and that is the military buildup on the range and the housing that they're doing. The only thing that is bringing any money into this town besides tourism, and they want to put a stop on it because they found somebody discovered a tree. Somebody decided it would be a good idea to take Luli and Guerrero out to look at a tree, and now there's all this conversation about putting everything on pause while we determine the gender of the tree. That, it's only one of its kind here, but in my understanding, we got plenty of them up in the other islands.
Yeah, see, being politically correct in this day and age, you cannot ask the tree what its gender is because you might offend it.
You got to find out what gender it identifies
That's
with,
right.
I mean, it could be one of these trees that's just going to get upset and say, no, don't you label me with your cis codes here, buddy. Anyway, so the other voice that you hear, that's Michael Knight, and thank you very much for making things easy for Daryl for the last week. And while I'm at it, let me say thank Thank you very much to Daryl Taggarty for sitting in a chair for 5 days while I was off. And a couple of people, you might be under the impression that I was on some kind of vacation. And I want you to, it was not a vacation. There were vacation-y moments in it, but it was not an actual vacation. I went for the medical checkup at St. Luke's, and even though my insurance company, Staywell, paid for everything, I still want to do a shout to the guys over at St. Luke's. What a great process that they've got there. You start early in the morning, and in my case, it was like 7 o'clock, right? And fill out a couple of forms, and then they take you into these rooms in stages. So the first thing we're going to do is, did you fast last night? And the answer is yes, I did. No beer, no treats by mouth is what they said. And so they take care of eliminating the need to fast. So we got the blood work and the fluid work all taken care of, and they said, okay, now you can go and eat. And they got this little spread. They a little place out in the back where they got coffee and soup and things that you can make sandwiches out of. So that was a nice process, and then they take you through the rest of it. Anyway, so the long and short of it is, number one, I passed. Near as I can tell, I looked up. I don't need a doctor. They send you all the paperwork, and it just gives you numbers and what the normal range is on some of those numbers. So I looked at that, and based on my cursory, non-medical guy view, you're stuck with me for a little bit longer. I apparently don't have anything that is broken or is too big or too small in my body, and that's the good. The other good news, I got to tell you, I'm proud. Last time I went for this, I weighed probably more than I should have, and I wasn't able to make it too far into phase 3 on the treadmill stress test. And I remember it was a challenge, but this time around I beat the stress test. The lady says, you can stop because you've hit the level that we want to see where your heart's at. And I said, okay, or you can go to 100%. And I said, baby, let's go to 100%. And so they kicked up the speed on the treadmill, put the incline up to 90, and let me run until my heart got to 100%. And she says, okay, you can stop now. I said, no, I'm going to keep going. And did. And everybody in St. Luke's all came into the room and gave me a round of applause at that time. It was a brilliant, beautiful world record gold coin moment. That's exactly what it sounded like. I might be exaggerating a little bit. Of course, we're the exaggeration station. I make that very, very clear because it's in my notes. The number of ridiculous crimes that have been committed in this town in the last, I don't know, week or so is beyond amazing. And every time, if you follow me on Facebook, every time somebody puts something on Facebook about the guys now that have been tased. We had 2 tasings in the last bunch of days, right? So we got that a robbery over at the San Jose Mart near the house, near my place, with a machete and a gun. And people up and down in the stores. I went to Benson yesterday to pick something up, and this was the topic of the conversation among the ladies that work at the counters at Benson. They were, and should have been appropriately scared, but less than a half a mile away was where a store was robbed by a guy. One guy with a machete. And another guy with a pistol, with a handgun. But it's okay, folks, because remember, Pito said we're safe. That was a point. How could we not be safe in our own homes, in our places of worship and businesses on Guam? How is it possible that we're not? Pito said we're safe. What's going on? And so that in my mind goes back to what I was saying. That's the eye roll part. That's the thing in my mind about what are we not getting among our elected officials. They're sitting around doing everything except addressing this violent crime wave that we've got in this town. Just a thought. Now that pre-ramble is done, let me take care of maybe the most important introductions.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. Glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name.
Everybody online this morning, and we started off with John Ray made it in first, Tony Annette and Pinko Ada and Nate Horn. Ishmael at number 4. James Howard came in at number 5 this morning. Al Batista, I see Juanita Machi's online. Anita Muffness with the Valentine's Eyes. Lynn and Vince, did I already say them? No. And Mark Mendiola rounds out the top 10 this morning. And as usual, I have to write it down. I've got to write these names down because by the time I get to this part in the program, the names have already advanced, and including now Ken Leon Guerrero. Pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. He's got a very, very interesting editorial, if you will, on the state of corruption in this town. And it's the hide in plain sight corruption. He lists a bunch of things. I don't have I left it on my desk. I'll get it at the break. But he lists down all the things that he sees in this town that are corruption that is happening right in front of everybody. Right in front of everybody. And so it's an interesting letter to the editor. He might call in and riff on that a little bit later on. Yoich Rangel asking if I get some airtime a little bit later on for one of his associates to talk about a 2K, 5K. Yeah, just DM me the thing, and I'll take care of it. Ismail with a note here, Fort Soledad, and I believe that is a reference to an image that he sent me just a little bit ago. I started the program with it because I thought it was just so pretty. Let me see if I can put the thing back on the screen so you can see it as well. There it is. There's the picture, and if I click this, I can get that on. I believe that is Ismail and his lovely family out there at Fort Soledad viewing the sunrise from sunset. That would be the sunset on that side of the island, right? Anyway, so some cosmic event was taking place, and they took a picture of it. So thank you very much, Ismail. I appreciate you sharing that with the viewers here on the Facebook Lives. Nick Perlowski's out there with his Hoik, Rico Blancaflor, and we both in Manila at the same time, near as I can tell. Johnny Torres is there. Vivian Cunningham. I'm going to send you a message before too much longer, Viv. Denise Legaspi, that's Lady D, saying good morning. I got Patty Santiago saying welcome back. Well, it's good to be home. And another welcome home from Lady D. Carlos Barreto is there. Gary Sean Alls, yay, Ray's back. And there's a note from Yoich, John Barcinas, St. Nicholas, Erica Fast Borja. Nice to see you there. Greg Karabrock is online. Greg, I was at Resort World Manila, and the last thing they gave me was an envelope that I'm going to give to you so that the next time you are in Manila, you can stay over at one of the hotels that they've got there. Marge C. Jensen. Got the name all compressed there. Nice to see you there, and thanks very much for the welcome back. Eric McKinnon is online. Bob Lizama. Linda Gabriel is there. James Tillman. Techur is there, and I'm not going to try to butcher the last name today. Randy Kruger. Eunice Mendiola. Adonis Mendiola is online. Mingo Ree. And Mingo has to chime in every time because I just like saying Mingo. I got Pam Duvall. Evan Montville-Cohen is there. Sam Beanie. Dave Torrey. Ray Cruz welcoming me back. Offer him one. Nice to see you there as well. J.M. Bragg. Charlene Marshall. Paul Barron is online. Who else is there? As long as they weren't in possession of balloons, we're safe. I hear you. Lillian, that's right. That's right. You come in, you rob my store with a machete and a handgun, no problem. Take the money and run. But you come in here with a balloon, and that's it, man. It's over for your kind. Richard Leon is online, and Richard's been making some brilliant commentary on some of the back and forth stories that I've been reading about on the Facebook. So Lillian Cruz saying, Buenas, and welcome back, Ray, Kevin, and Michael. Nice to have the whole team all assembled for us here in the morning show. 6:28, and a bunch of items on the table of contents. As you can imagine, having been gone for 7 days or so, missing 5 days on the radio, there is a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. Actually, there's like 2 pages of stuffs here that I can talk about. But generally, I presume that you are interested in what my observations have been while I was traveling. And I'll give it to you like this. Traffic in Manila still sucks. Just FYI. And Singapore, lovely country, safe, but probably the most expensive place that I've been. Somebody asked me, how was Singapore? And I said, it was wonderful, except that you cannot get drunk in Singapore. It's impossible. It's just too expensive. I went to a place, I took a picture of it, stuck it on Facebook. I went to a place called the Long Bar. Kevin, are you familiar with the Long Bar? Do you know what it is known for, this Long Bar?
I forget the name of the drink.
It's the Singapore Sling. It is where they invented about 100 years ago the Singapore sling, and I thought, you know what, tourist, I'm gonna go. I want to go see what this place is. It's nice, kind of the turn of the centuries, kind of almost Victorian style bar that they've got there, and you go in and they sit you down. If you're with a party, you can get a table, but if you're not, then you can sit over at the bar. I was by myself, and so they put me up at the bar and put in front of me, and I love this about the place. They put in front of me a bag of peanuts. Some of you will remember back when they first opened the Lone Star restaurant, is they'd hand you a bunch of peanuts and you can eat them and you just toss the shells on the floor. It was the coolest thing. You just eat and you toss the shells on the floor and you make a whole mess and nobody seemed to care. And then I think the lawyers got to him and said, no, you can't do that. Somebody's going to slip and fall and die. And so that went away. But apparently you can still do it at the Long Bar. So I got into the Long Bar, sat down, I get the peanuts, and I'm having a good. And the guy says, what would you like to drink? And I said, I don't know, maybe one of these Singapore slings. So he hands me a menu, and I look at the menu, and you can buy yourself a Singapore sling at the place where they invented it for $33. What? No, it's $33 plus. Because you're in Singapore, and they learn how to tax things from Joe S. St. Augustine. There's no tax that they didn't like in Singapore, and that's how they keep the place clean and pretty, is they just tax the hell out of everything, including the Singapore slings. At $33 plus. I said, I think I'll just have a beer. And I said, what kind do you want? I said, the cheapest one you have, which, as it turns out, is a tiger beer, tasty, and I'm not sure, but after the conversion, I'm almost positive I paid about $25 for one beer at this place. And the guy comes back to me and says, would you like something else? I said, no, I'd like my tab. I think I've drank as much as I can afford to drink in this place. So it's impossible to get drunk there. What I was counting on was winning the Guam National Olympic raffle that they had. They did the drawing while I was gone. And they've come around with the names, and unfortunately, in the names of the top 13 prizes, including a grand prize of $30,000, which would have bought me 10,000 Singapore slings or so. Ed Ching won that, not me. Darn. Drat. And I recall spending a couple of dollars on these raffle tickets. Bought them from a friend. But congratulations to Ed Ching, winner of $30,000, $5K to Fina Uggan, and third prize of $1,000 to Rose Eklavea. Now, there's a couple of other names that on the winners list that I'm familiar with, including Mary Rhodes, Molly Cadmus, and a guy named Jerry Roberts. As in, I wonder if, as in the guy that does the extra point. We'll find out if he's $100 fatter these days. Anyway, more to talk about, including, is it cheaper to buy gasoline in the Philippines than it is to buy gasoline here on Guam? And I had to do the conversion. You can start on this now. About $42.60 for a liter of gasoline in the Philippines. About how much is that when we transfer that to Guam dollars? I'll share the math with you on the other side of this. It's time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning: supporters of a bill that would ban vaping in public places turned out at the legislature Friday afternoon to testify in support of a bill to do that. Bill 138 would expand the scope of the Natasha Protection Act of 2005 to include e-cigarettes. Genevieve Leon Guerrero Garrett testified the legislation is not a complete ban on vaping, but she said the range of smoke in inhalants like e-cigarettes might compromise quality of air for others. Garrett's daughter is Natasha, the namesake of the Natasha Protection Act, which limits smoking in public places. Garrett said she's fighting for quality of air. Guam Youth Congress Representative DeMarco Quine commended Senator Amanda Shelton for introducing the bill. He said vaping is an invitation to youth to smoke. The Guam Power Authority has taken notice of the recent drop in fuel prices, but that doesn't mean its projections have changed. While gas prices have fallen, price projections have not changed, said GPA. GPA has opted to maintain the fuel surcharge at about 15.4 cents per kilowatt hour for the next 6-month period, which begins in August. The utility had been raising the surcharge incrementally to meet the rising cost of fuel, which has recently dropped. The Department of Administration is mailing out 1,300 tax refund checks today, totaling $4.3 million. The refund checks are for error-free returns filed on or before February 5th. Taxpayers who have debts with GovGuam will have part or all of their refunds garnished. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Okay, it's 6:35. That's iConnect time. Run by an iConnect and learn about some great packages and plans they've got for you. Save you some money on your internet and your mobile plans and iConnect.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Yeah, so traffic sucks in Manila. Nothing really has changed there. Although I will admit that there were a couple of times where I recall being kind of agnostic about it before, because it didn't seem to make all that much difference. But apparently they've got everything squared now, and so if you take the Skyway, it will cut off a remarkable number of minutes getting from places like Pasay, over where Resort World Manila is, into the Makati area. You know, as the crow flies, what is that, 3 miles? Sometimes you can almost walk there faster than you can drive. But take the Skyway. I wish we had a Skyway around here. Might save you some time in drive time traffic. Don't need it right now. Southbound traffic, Marine Corps Drive, all the way from Daydidu and around the Guam Regional Medical City, looking really, really nice right now. Up around Anderson Air Force Base, clear running over in Sumay, clear running in front of Navy Hospital. Most of the rest of the traffic, if you see anything at all, it'll be slowdowns at intersections. It's 6:36, and that's right now traffic here on The Point.
Travel the world and then some with the 2 million United Miles sweepstakes from First Hawaiian Bank. Enter and you could win the grand prize of 1 million miles or be one of 6 other lucky winners. The world is big. Our prize is bigger. Enter at fhb.com/2 million miles. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Sweepstakes starts on May 1st and ends June 30th, 2019. Open to legal residents of Guam and CNMI. Ages 18 years or older. Visit 2millionmiles.com for official rules. First Hawaiian Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Getting you back to the talk faster. It's the Ray Gibson Show.
888-8255. 888-8255. Got that number rolling around in my head. Hopefully it's rolling around in your head. Something you want to talk about, something you want to yak about today. That's a telephone number to get into it. Otherwise, a bunch of different ways that you can get a hold of me here at the radio station. You can use that method of communication. I got an email address for those of you that are still using that old-fashioned mode of communication, and that is raygibsonshow@gmail.com. Hope that's easy for you to remember. Not the Ray Gibson Show. It's just, try not to be pretentious like that. It's just raygibsonshow@gmail.com. We've got a WhatsApp, and if you've got any cool images that you'd like to share, you can use that. Send videos and pictures and audio sound bites and or commentary to 988-5874. That's 988-5874. Or you can do what is increasingly one of the best ways to communicate in talk radio. It's not so much talking, because, you're busy. You don't realize just how busy you are in the morning, and there might be a topic in your head, and you're going, yeah, I want to riff on this. I just don't have time to make a phone call and sit on hold. And if that's the case, go to Facebook Live and then look me up. Just go to Facebook, look up The Point, and somewhere in there is a link that'll take you to the video portion of today's program. And of course, we've got methods of there's a chat going on. Richard Leon is chatting there, talking about Rico say traffic in Manila sucks, but thank goodness for Grab. We need to have grab on. I don't know how we can do something like that. I know we got stroll, but I talked to a couple of guys, and every time that they really need stroll, i.e. the middle of the night, and they've had like 18 shots of Jameson, they're either not available or they're not going to be available very, very soon, or they don't like the price or something like that. There used to be a Uber and Lyft in the Philippines. I don't know what happened to that. I think they got banned by Duterte or something. But there is a Grab. And Grab worked for about 99% of the traveling around the city that I needed to do. It was easiest to grab a Grab, literally, and you can get food. They'll deliver food to you. You can go if you want to. I mean, there's a place, Mesa is the name of it at Greenbelt, and I like the food there. Don't necessarily want to have to get out of the hotel to go get it, but you can just call Grab, and they'll go pick up something from over at the place and bring it to you. I'm going, If there is something that we could use a whole lot of here on Guam, it is the concept of Grab. So I don't know what it is that they do there that makes it work that we don't know how to do or can't do here on Guam. But I'm with you, Rico. That was nice. James Howard asking if I went to Club Rose. No, I did not make it into any nightclubs while I was there. I got close, but changed minds. John Wigston is there. Carlos Barreto saying Long Bar, same as the Raffles Hotel in Manila. There's Heather Perez is there. James Lonzo, Cheryl Achai, Ismail. I'm vertically impaired. That was a picture of my family. My Lisa was photographing. Okay, there you go. Did I catch the UFO in the sky? No, I didn't. Sorry about that. Skyway transportation to establish public parking lots can avoid traffic problems. Want to do something like that around here? I think that's the plan for Hagutnia redevelopment. I'm not sure, but plow everything under and turn it into turn the whole thing into parking lots and parking places. I'm sorry. The tribe probably should get into an actual news thing that we can talk about. But there's just plenty of other. I mentioned on Facebook yesterday that let me see if I can call the image up. I mentioned that I was trying to catch up on Guam news, but every story has me rolling my eyes. Can we do over the last election? And that got a lot of response from folks that I think line up the same as me, and that are going, there seems to be a big picture that some of our elected officials are not catching. We've got a major crime wave that we've got in this town. And we've got guys that are rolling up on grocery stores with machetes and handguns, robbing the place. We got a fellow walking around. I don't know whether it was a real gun or one of these replicas, but he looked like he was in a threatening mode the other day and actually got tased by police officers. And the guy, to thank his lucky stars, he got he got a police officer that was more interested in getting the taser off than his gun off. Because that could have gone the other way. That could have turned into suicide by cop real fast. But they tased him, tased another guy. I've got video of that. I'll play for you. And so we've got this crime issue, and it's hard to say where the problem begins with crime. Is it the economy? Is it drugs? Is it just the way that we turn our heads collectively around here at some of the small crimes, some of the basic stuff, speeding in the cars, littering, as an example? There needs to be significant fines for littering. And so as I'm typing this thing up yesterday and looking over the stories, I want to say it was Arlene Evangelista. Yeah, Arlene was down at the Inarahan Pool over by the church in beautiful Inarahan, one of the prettiest spots on Guam. It is a jewel of the South. And she was down there, and it was just a couple of days ago, apparently, when she took and shot this video. I don't know if there's any audio playing behind it, but it was a video that she posted in the story. And I got to tell you guys, it is beyond embarrassing. This is, as I said, one of the most magnificent jewels of the south of Guam. And people can't be bothered to pick up after themselves. They've got looks like a barbecue grill over here, or a trash something, and they're just absolutely loaded with trash. How is it possible that nobody is being arrested for something like this? Look at that. And so one of the other things that you see Let me play that again. Is the people in the background, not locals. They're tourists. And more these days, we've got a bunch of Korean tourists that know how to drive on Guam, or they think they know how to drive on Guam. And it doesn't take very much for them to be able to plug in something like Inaran pools into their GPS on the phone and scooch them down so that they can witness all of this trash.
I hope that's not what GVB is paying $100,000 for.
Ugh. Can you imagine? Where all So we've got the two things, right? That there and radical misappropriation, unbelievable priorities on spend in this town. And then the other part is, why isn't somebody getting arrested for that? Why is not somebody getting cited by the mayor or a police officer or the Guam Environmental Protection Agency for that? Where are the adult authorities that are supposed to be seeing to something as simple as we got to get rid of the trash? We've got tourists walking around these jewels and in our community, and seems to me the only people that are cleaning up after is, like, you get students that need to do some kind of, I don't know what the community work that the kids got to do, otherwise they won't be allowed to graduate. Service learning, yeah, that's the new word for slavery, if you ask me. But anyway, that's the deal that the government makes with the kids in exchange for the diplomas. So you get these kids out there, or in a couple of cases, one of my favorites is whenever there's a ship from the United States Navy that comes to town. There's all these guys, a Corvette of guys that come off the ship, and they're out there looking for some kind of community work, and they go out there and clean it up. And then you got a bunch of fast hikers that will go out and clean up places just like that for no notice and no thanks, but that's our job. We're supposed to do that. There's supposed to be somebody from DPW or Guam Solid Waste Authority or GVB or the mayor's office or somewhere. Somebody's got to go out there and be cleaning up that mess. And I don't know who it is, but you know what? We're going to clamp down on all kinds of other stuff. We have balloons for the sea turtles and the dolphins and the octopuses that are out there. And as much as I love Jan and the whole Natasha clean air protection thing, a brilliant idea, but doing something like that now means that we've solved all the big problems, and we haven't. We've still got some of these huge problems. If I'm lucky, I might get somebody from GVB on the line to talk about how the Korean numbers are down, but hey, the Japanese numbers are up. Because, we're paying for the airline seats to bring these guys out here. So, yeah, things seem to be moving in the right direction there. But, we're going to get a reputation for being not Love Island, but Trash Island around here. And it is images just like that I showed you on the screen a couple of minutes ago. And I'm probably still there. It's probably still, you could probably drive down to Inaran right now, it being Monday after a big weekend. And there's probably just as much trash down there. Wonder what Tengisan is looking like right now. Might be clean, because I think somebody did a cleanup over the weekend. But, it only takes a couple of days for the place to get trashed again. 6:47 in the morning, 888-8255-888-TALK is the telephone number. What are we yakking about on the line? Gary Shonalls. Pam says, need a trash patrol going around the beaches and parks. Gary says, no, that trash is blown out of proportion. Merely exaggerations. It was really only just a couple of bags of trash. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Adult authorities are asleep, says Richard. Suckman Mariano's online saying, greetings. I appreciate that. Yes, Nick Perlowski says, a round table needs to be held with oversight hearings and a blue ribbon task force. That's going to solve all of our problems because, we've tried all that before, and it works every single time we take it out for a spin. So that's what's in my head. That's one of the things that we've got to definitely work on around here, is attacking some of these small crimes, the not stopping at stoplights, or going through the reds, things like that. You give people some kind of respect for the law and maybe some authority, and maybe that's going to work out. Now, anyway, you got the telephone numbers. We can riff on that again. 988-5874. If you got something you want to send to me on the WhatsApp. Somebody sent me something, and I'm too busy flapping my gums to take a look at it. Yesterday's PDM, if I recall correctly, there were great photos of military volunteers, right? in the PDN picking up trash along our beaches. It was in yesterday's. I'll take a look at it. I've only had a chance to review the Guam Daily Post, so I'm taking a look at anything else. But yeah, that's the deal. Everybody goes, oh, we'll just go ahead and trash this beach. We'll trash this spot here. Somebody from the Navy will come pick it up. Somebody from the military will come pick it up. And I don't know why they do. Just everybody gives them a hard time about everything, up to and including what's going on up at the firing ranges and the construction that's going on over there. And it looks like the way the story is written, there is a resolution that is going to be coming out soon. What is it, 15 pages or so of a resolution that has been introduced by Talen and Nelson relative to respectfully requesting where is it? Respectfully requesting that. I'm reading a version of it that is showing the multiple changes that have taken place in the language relative to Governor Lou Leon Guerrero seeking a temporary pause, but that's the new language. The old language was to halt construction activities related to the U.S. Department of Navy's proposed live fire training range complex at Northwest Field in order to ensure the protection of the recently discovered environmental and cultural resources on the northern coastline of Guam. I looked at this and I'm going, are we going to do something like this again? Haven't we had this conversation for about the last, I don't know, 15 years? About the military buildup that's going to be taking place around here, and the notion is that there needs to be some place for these guys to go and practice their pew pew pew, or maybe their boom boom boom. I forget which it is, what munitions exactly are going to be conducted on this, but it just seems to me that about every 6 months or so, somebody wets the bed over the construction process that's taking place up there, and nobody seems to be listening to the breathless assertions that are being made by the people that are doing the construction. They're going, yeah, we know that there's artifacts up here. We've got this plan, you see. And just about everybody has managed to sign off on this plan and seen to its satisfaction. And, you know, it's not as though when they find something, they dig a deeper hole or they bulldoze it out of the way. I know people that as soon as they see something that looks like it's got some kind of historical, cultural, archaeological significance, there's a massive stop that goes on. And there's paperwork that if you want, they'll show you. Just since June, the number of things that they have found while they've been doing the digging and doing the construction work up there, and they've identified the places. They know exactly what it is that they're looking at, and they've got archaeologists that will look and see what mitigation needs to be done, and they've got various kinds of mitigation. But I don't know. It just seems to me like, as I said, every 6 months or so, we've got to go through this process, and then we bring out the same bunch of people from the buildup over at the Admiral's office, and they say the same thing, and then it gets quiet again, and then somebody is going to say, but we found a booger that we think belonged to one of the Magalahis from a long time ago. My God, make them stop. So that's where though there has been one change while I was gone, and I thought it was interesting. I think it will be interesting when we get around to the bottom of what exactly happened to Linda Uggan over at the Guam Historic Preservation Office. So it's trying to sort it out in my head. We've got people that want to put a stop or a pause on the construction and the ranges and all of that. And it looks like it might have a little bit of gas from Adelup. So you would think that the thing would be, okay, we'll talk to Linda and have Linda work with the people out there and see if we can press the pause button on the cassette deck here on the construction and on the military, right? But then they fired her. And she says that it looks like a case of retaliation here for maybe her being so vocal about some of the things that have been going on there and expressing publicly her displeasure with the rate and the style, et cetera, of the military buildup. So they apparently fired her.
Yeah, but wait, now I've also heard that she has actually gotten in the way of some construction efforts, and in some way, I don't know how.
So if that's the case, and if they wanted her to be in the way of construction efforts up there, then it seems to me that they would not have fired her. If that was what they want to do, then why would they fire the one person that might have the capability of speaking in a high and shrill enough voice to actually do it? So that's the one thing that's got me kind of scratching my head in all of this. But it's the language here that I had to almost giggle at as I was reading up on it. I've got the paperwork from the Guam Daily Post on her letter of appeal to the Civil Service Commission, termination based on retaliation, denial of due process, lacking just cause, no progressive discipline, action ultimately and procedurally defective, and for any other reason that is either known or becomes known without limitation. And then she signed and dated it and handed it to the folks over at the Civil Service Commission. But it's the language of the way that they. Yeah, that's right, Pam. It does sound fishy, doesn't it? What the heck is going on there? The synopsis of factual allegations. And I love the way that they craft this kind of thing. You are being issued this final adverse action as a result of your unethical, criminal, dishonest, notoriously disgraceful, disrespectful, discourteous, unprofessional, unbecoming, unlawful, and insubordinate conduct and statements with your superiors or subordinates and with the public between March 21st, 2019 and the present, as set forth more fully herein. That's page 5. And then it goes on to about 25, 26, 27. There's 28 pages here of adverse action-y stuff that they've taken against Linda Uggan. I have not read the whole thing. I've got other reading for pleasure that I might be doing in just a little bit, but it is just kind of interesting to me that there are 28 pages to back up the adverse action based on unethical, criminal, dishonest, disgraceful, disrespectful, discourteous, unprofessional, and unlawful, insubordinate conduct, yada, 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 yada. Isn't that fun? Doesn't that sound like a whole lot of fun that she's going to have to defend herself with? And you got to get the paperwork in fast, get the ball rolling, because you want to make sure that you are on the right side of the clock. And, of course, Linda, I'm sure, knows everything about that. I was likewise concerned about another story that I read involving somebody over at the Department of Public Works who they fired apparently back in the Larry Perez days, I think. And managed to have his case heard and the termination and suspension overruled to the tune of about $700,000. Is that right, Kev? $700,000 is what the guy's going to be making in back wages and other benefits that he would have already had they not fired him or had been able to continue to do what he did over at DPW. But a really, really interesting case on how the deck always seems to be stacked in favor of the employees. At least that's the one, because we never hear about the ones where the Civil Service Commission said, took a look at somebody's termination and said, oh, yeah, this, not only did he need to get fired, he probably should have also been killed. He probably also deserved capital punishment in this case. We don't generally hear about that, but we do hear about the ones where you've got somebody, it looks like it wasn't really a questionable termination. But end of the day, the Civil Service Commission said, and it was a lot of days, end of the day, the Civil Service Commission said, yeah, this guy needs to be reinstated, and we'll bring him back. In order to make this person whole, we're going to have to pay him about $700,000. And I want to say that's got to be a record, isn't it, of back wages that are owed to, soon to be not former employees in the government. What about the guy over at the port?
It was about $600,000.
It was about $600,000 for him. So we got, there we go. So to the tune of about a 1.1 mil is we got guys that, so if you get terminated, and maybe at the end of the rainbow, that will be it for Linda Uggan, is that she is going, and she's got Bob Koss, right? Koss is the lawyer. He's okay as lawyers go. So it is possible that at the end of the rainbow for Linda Uggan is not only do I not have to worry about being the shippo in Guam, it might also be that they have got this termination so cocked up after 28 pages that she might be in line for a $1 million payday, maybe a $700,000 payday from the government of Guam. We'll watch and see how it happens. Maybe just a little bit of discomfort here at the beginning of the process, but maybe down the road you get one of these big paydays out there. Anyway, look, and that's just scratching the surface. What is 6:59? I got a minute left before the top of the hour news. 6:59 and change. That's just the tip of the iceberg on all of the things that I've been looking at in 10 days worth of newspaper since I left that have got me rolling my head and scratching my eyes. No, scratching my head and rolling my eyes. I'll get it right before the end of the program. Listen, I got a breakaway. I got Fox News coming up here in a second. Kevin Kerrigan on the other side of that. Big 7 o'clock hour. We'll see what happened in the markets. Oh, you know what? I forgot to do the math on how much a gallon of gasoline was after all of the translations and calculations in Manila, the Philippines. 42.60p for a liter translates to about $3.15. for a gallon of gas out in the Philippines, which is awesome. It sounds like it's a low price, but considering the amount of time that you spend burning it, being stuck in traffic, maybe not the biggest bargain in the world. Maybe we can riff on that a little bit later on as well. Anyway, Fox News coming up. Kevin's coming up. Jerry Roberts, Extra Point in the program. That's going to be happening right here. So I don't want you to touch the dial, touch the Facebook Live. Be right back.
Ex-Marines among the dead in what police call one of the worst accidents they've ever seen. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News. It happened in rural New Hampshire this weekend. Motorcyclists and members of our military mourning the 7 victims mowed down by a pickup truck. Fox's Gernal Scott is live with the latest.
Jane, of the 7 motorcyclists, 1 was from Rhode Island. 2 were from Massachusetts, along with the remaining 4 from New Hampshire. A medical examiner says all of them, members of a motorcycle club for Marines, died from blunt trauma. The oldest was 62, the youngest 42. The driver of the truck, Volodymyr Zhukovsky, was said by a relative to be cooperating with the investigation. So far, Zhukovsky has not been charged. A previously planned Blessing of the Bikes event in Columbia, New Hampshire today held a moment of silence to remember the riders killed. 3 others were hurt in that accident, Jane.
Tragic. Thanks, Gernal. For shooting down a U.S. military drone last week, Iran facing more economic sanctions. They go into effect tomorrow. President Trump describes them as major sanctions. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo saying,
"This will be a further effort to ensure that their capacity not only to grow their economy, but to evade sanctions becomes more and more difficult."
Secretary Pompeo, on his way to Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, says the trip is to make sure our allies in that region are all on the same page strategically. National Security Advisor John Bolton spending Sunday in Israel. He says Iran should not mistake the president's decision to call off retaliatory airstrikes out of concern for civilian casualties as a sign of weakness. Postponed for 2 weeks, Trump administration plans to round up migrant families for deportation due to take place today. This is Fox News.
Hey, welcome to this Subway ad for the new club collection. How do you want it? I'll take a book club. Absolutely.
So, last week we sunk our teeth into Subway's meaty new release, the Steak Club.
I didn't finish it yet.
Oh, not again, Sandra. This week, it's the new Southwest Chicken Club, also by Subway. No spoilers, but there's a tasty twist.
Jalapeno cheddar bread and guacamole?
Sandra, get out. Subway, make it what you want.
Good ending.
Limited time only at participating restaurants.
Discover a new galaxy. GTA introduces the new Samsung Galaxy S10 in 3 different sizes. The Galaxy S10 comes with cool new features like Power Share that allows you the ability to share your battery power with other devices. Or you can capture a wider world with its new camera featuring an ultra-wide lens for when you need to take pictures of the whole family. And with GTA handset payment option, you can take home a Galaxy S10 for $0 down. GTA, we start with you.
President Trump heads to Japan this week for the G20 summit. A sit-down with China's leader also on his agenda.
The 10 Asian countries forming the ASEAN grouping met in Bangkok this weekend, and they called on the U.S. and China to come up with a resolution to what's now become a full-blown trade war between the 2 countries. President Trump and Chinese President Xi have been trading tariffs on imports from both countries. Talks to come up with a deal broke down last month. More tariffs are threatened. For its part today, Chinese state media said it has the strength and the patience to fight the U.S. to the end. It is also thought the anti-Beijing pro-democracy protests that have racked Hong Kong for the past 2 weeks could come up as well, could even be used by President Trump as a bargaining chip in negotiations. And then there's North Korea, another major issue. In Hong Kong, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
Diplomacy often described as a high wire act. Well, this is the real thing.
Going to Times Square is a bucket list item for a lot of people. But tightrope walker Nick Walinda's lifelong dream in Times Square is a little different from the rest. Tonight, he'll walk a 1,300-foot cable 25 stories above Times Square without a safety net. That's 5 city blocks downhill. And to make it more interesting, his sister will start at the other end, walking uphill. They'll meet in the middle, change places, and continue on walking. You'll be able to watch it live at 8 o'clock Eastern on ABC. In New York City, Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
So how many people bought movie tickets this weekend, and what did they want to see? No surprise, the box office winner, Toy Story 4.
Oh, she's already making friends.
No, she literally made a new friend. I want you to
That's Tom Hanks you hear. He is back as Cowboy Woody, the animated sequel, making $118 million, less than what was expected, $140 million. I'm Jay Metzler. This is Fox News.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 data-to-go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The US, China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is data-to-go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 7 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. A resolution proposed by Senator Talina Nelson is calling for the suspension of all construction activity on the firing range complex on Northwest Field at Anderson Air Force Base. The first version of the resolution circulated Friday. It called for a halt to clearing, pre-construction, data recovery, and all construction activities at the firing range. It was initialed by Senators Therese Terlahi, Sabina Perez, Amanda Shelton, Kelly Marsh, Clint Rigel, Tina Rose Munya Barnes, Tello Taitegui, Will Castro, and Louise Munya. The Guam Daily Post has learned, however, that questions were subsequently raised about the cost of stopping construction of the firing range complex, which would prompt layoffs of local workers and loss of income for Gov Guam. Some senators have since asked for their endorsement of the resolution to be removed. The resolution was subsequently revised to ease the tone, calling for a pause in firing range construction rather than a complete halt. Senator Nelson has called a news conference this morning at 8 o'clock at the legislature to officially announce the resolution. Police are asking for the public's help in finding 2 men who robbed the San Jose market in Mighty yesterday morning with a machete and what appeared to be a handgun. Surveillance video shows 2 men entering the store about 4:40 a.m. They were wearing hooded sweaters, masks covered their faces. One suspect appeared to be carrying a black handgun. The other, armed with a machete, appears to threaten a cashier who is seen trying to run away. The cashier was forced back to the cash register where the robber grabbed the money and both men then fled. One suspect was wearing a light-colored hoodie, a hat, khaki shorts and white slippers. The other suspect was wearing a red hoodie with light-colored pants. Anyone with information is asked to call the police dispatch line at 472-8911 or call Guam Crime Stoppers at 477-HELP. We'll have more news after this.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. My name is Alicia Blas from Agate, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Putehi Igomamu. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
When it comes to power and performance, nothing compares to Dodge. And right now at Cars Plus in Mighty, you can save thousands on many Dodge vehicles in stock during our Dodge Performance Days. Like a new 2019 Grand Caravan SE, save $4,250, or save $6,150 on a new Durango SXT. Looking for more power? Take home a new Charger SXT Plus today for only $37,689, or save over $7,000 on a new Challenger GT. Get more power and performance at Cars Plus in Mighty during Dodge Performance Days. Cars Plus, driven by you.
News time here at The Point is 10 minutes past 7 a.m. Public Safety Oversight Chair Senator Jose Terlahi has reaffirmed his confidence in Department of Corrections Director Samantha Brennan after her mental health evaluation report was released. The report recommended Brennan for the job, but also cautioned that she might not do well under certain stressful situations. Licensed clinical psychologist Dr. Andrea Lighthizer conducted the evaluation of Brennan to determine if she was fit for duty. The evaluation was conducted in March, weeks before Brennan appeared before lawmakers for a confirmation hearing in which she received overwhelming support. According to Lighthizer's evaluation, Brennan could benefit from interpersonal effectiveness training. The report states if symptoms prove to be habitual, reconsideration or removal from her position should be discussed for both the benefit of the candidate and the population she serves. Senators gave Brennan a unanimous green light for the top job at the prison. The Guam Department of Education is investigating allegations over the misuse of funds at Untalan Middle School. Superintendent John Fernandez says the department's internal audit office is looking into the issue. The investigation began last week, might be completed within the next week or two, said Fernandez. He said the complaint was focused on funds raised for school activities, not appropriated funds. Fernandez said, "We're trying to determine whether there was a misuse of funds." He was not able to provide an estimate of the amount that was misused. "We're going to be looking for receipts," said Fernandez. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with a look at the weather.
It says partly cloudy today, Kevin, with isolated showers, winds from the east up to about 15 miles an hour. Hot day, 90 degrees on the forecast side. Imagine what it's going to be like when it actually hits. And overnight lows of about 79 degrees. Got into the car for a little bit yesterday. It was 101 degrees.
Yes.
And at 101 degrees, the air conditioner in the car was fighting back. I mean, it really was giving it that old college try, but it wasn't doing a really good job of it, let me tell you. Sunset tonight, 6:50. Sunrise tomorrow morning should be about 5:55 or so. Can we take a look at the radar? No, we still cannot look at radar because it's Mozambique right now. But we can take a look at satellite imagery, and Michael Knight's going to tell you what he sees.
As we see the pointer there, we do see some high clouds coming over us, and those are clouds streaming up from what is a very weak tropical disturbance to our south-southeast. That's 95 WNVest. Now, the fact that those clouds are streaming over us from that system shows that there's already what's known as poleward outflow setting up in the upper levels of the atmosphere. So if all other conditions are equal, this thing does have a chance for some development. We'll see how it goes. The computer forecast models right now not showing much in the way of development, and the Weather Service says we probably won't see a whole lot from this either. Maybe just an uptick in showers towards the end of the week. But for the next 2 or 3 days, we're just looking at that dry trade wind pattern, just those light to moderate winds, and an occasional isolated shower from time to time.
But we did get rain here in the last couple of days, right? Because Mark Colby sent out the deal to the media, and they had to call off one of the games. Was that Friday night or something like that?
Yeah, we had a couple of days, Thursday and Friday, where it rained fairly nice. It was a fairly nice little rainfall, some decent amounts. But of course, it either ran off very quickly, or where it was allowed to puddle up, it just soaked right on into the ground. So it helped a little, but the fire danger is still way up there, and we're still really.
So you know what I discovered over the weekend? I was in Singapore trying to get to Manila for that stage of the trip, and just as I was getting ready to board the Philippine airline flight that went from the beautiful Changi Airport down in Singapore to the not quite so beautiful Ninoy Aquino Airport, but that was the point. It started raining in Singapore, and then it was heavy rain with lightning and thunder, and I thought, well, you know, this is a Philippine Air. The pilot's probably just going to go, you know, just take off in this, and then fast climb above it, get to about 35,000 feet, and then not worry about it anymore, and just take me home, right? And he said, no, we're just going to stay here until it passes. He didn't want to take a chance on trying to get off the tarmac with that kind of weather.
Yeah, Singapore actually one of the places on Earth that is most frequently affected by thunderstorms, and that's kind of a typical thing there, and they get big down there, those huge thunder boomers.
You know, so around it was a crazy kind of lightning that I saw, because it stayed in the sky for a long time. It wasn't just, you know, flash like a camera flash. I mean, it would go, and it would be this cloud to ground strike, and it stayed there for like movie length, as it were, and it was a crazy. I'd never seen anything like that. And I thought Michael Knight needs to be here to explain this to me.
Yeah, you also have to take into consideration that things are a little different there in terms of mechanics of the atmosphere because they're right on the equator. So, there's a little bit of a difference between the kind of storms they get and the kind of ones we get, and it's the same for us in places up north.
But it was still, you know, make your butt flap stick together.
Yes, absolutely.
It was that kind of heat and humidity there. 7:15 in the morning. Yes, I said butt flap. It's time for the commercials. I'll be right back.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
7:15 in the morning. Portions of the program brought to you by my pals over at Cold Stone. And maybe you are of the opinion that you need to get your hands on some great tasting ice cream, or better yet, ice cream cakes. They've got the tall, dark, and delicious, or Oreo cookies and cream. Order online. Get something big happening. Father's Day has come and gone, but maybe you got a big birthday, or I don't know, somebody at your office has been fired, and you know you need to get them a feel better thing. So look, here, get this for Linda Uggan. They've got Cold Stone Creamery making fresh batches of ice cream at every store. Also brought to you by American President Lines. Charlie and the gang are shipping the future. Micronesia Renewable Energy. Never been a better time to go solar because they've got battery storage now available. That's a game changer for you. 632-2613 for a free consultation. And of course, Cars Plus up in Mighty, where they're continuing to have their big Performance Day sales. Now, I always make a big deal about the Challenger and the Charger that they've got for sale up there, but you can also get your hands on the wheels of a 2019 Grand Caravan SE. Want to get in the business of taking people around? Maybe this is going to be your stroll ride. How about a Durango SXT? All right, put a bunch of people in that one too, and you're not going to pay a whole lot for it at Cars Plus, where they're driven by you.
It's the Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Magic words I'm hearing. Big Sister Shelley online this morning says, I got pugwa for you. That's nice. I could use some of that. Didn't take any with me on the trip, and that's okay. I found other ways to quench different thirsts here. Cousin Ted from the ranch is online. Cindy Rapatis, good morning there. And Director Cho from the Department of Labor is online this morning. Hava Dennis Bensor. Nice to have Regina Nedlick online as well. Thanks very much for hitting the Facebook Live this morning. Great way to start your day. Do me a favor. I never ask you for anything. Don't you like it when people start off requests like that? You know, considering how I never ask you for anything, could you do me a favor? There's a share button somewhere online on the screen that you're watching on, the screen that you're listening on Facebook Live. Click the share button and let people know that this is how you start your day. This is where you get your information. This is where you get your entertainment. This is where you get the smart aleck comments on all the big news stories, et cetera, and let everybody know. It's just one of those ways. With the magic of social media, it starts with you and I talking, but it gets really, really big force multiplier when you share the feed. Really appreciate that. And put Valentine's likes. If you're going to hit me up with a like, put Valentine's like. It's just it's an ego stroke, and you can help me with that as well. 7:18 in the morning. Is it time to take a look at what happened on the markets? So, over the weekend, the Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 34 points, closed in the red on their Friday, our Saturday. But, you know, since I have been here, have you seen where the Dow has gone? 26,719 is where it closed. When I left, I want to say it was around 24 and change. But the thing is just jumped up over 1,000 points, closing in on 27,000. You know why? Trump. I'm going to leave that out there for the never Trumpers and the one or two libbies that are listening to the program just to torque you off. It's Trump. That's the Trump effect there. Dow Jones Industrial 26.7, NASDAQ at 8,031. They're up by 19 points. S&P 500 closed in the red as well, 29.50. So a down day on Friday, but watch as the numbers come up here in the next little bit. FTSE's also down. I mean, it's not just the American markets. FTSE Nikkei is going to be opening up in the red. Hang Seng at 76.92. Shanghai Index, about the only one that opened up. That's because Glenn was there. Glenn was in Shanghai over the weekend. I know because I saw Glenn at the airport on the way home, which is still one of my favorite things in the world. It's the last airport on any trip, the last airport before you get to Guam. If you're coming in from the West Coast, it's Honolulu, right? Or if you're in Japan, it's over at the Narita Airport. Philippines, it's that airport if you're making your way back from someplace going through there. And I just love that feeling where you're walking around near the gate and you can almost feel half a day when you're going there. You just start looking for the million. There's Glenn and there's Linda from over at Kento. She was there with her daughter and a bunch of Guam kids that were out there. I don't know if you saw it, but there's some kind of massive volleyball tournament that a bunch of girls from Guam were playing at, and I got to ride the airplane with all of them on the way back, and had the most adventurous time coming into the Guam International Airport. We were told by the lady on the airplane that we could get our bags at carousel number 1. So you get a whole 737 load of people that are waiting for their bags at number 1. And number 3 and 5 were already being used. A big couple of flights that come in from Pohnpei or someplace. You could tell they were from the outer islands because there were no suitcases. It was only coolers. Coolers of fish. The entire place smelled like a fish market when I come in on Saturday morning. So we're all of us standing around the carousel number 1 wondering when the hell we were going to be able to get our luggage and leave. And then somebody said, hey, you guys, everything's over on 3. So imagine, if you will, a whole plane load of people and their carts moving from one area to the other to get their bags that had apparently been off the airplane for like 20 minutes while we were standing around because the carousel had stopped. So we're all of us, an entire plane load of people, after they make the trek from 1 to 3, then are walking around the carousel looking for their bags. Welcome to Guam. And I will say, as I will do from time to time, I went in and took a look at the men's room at the Guam International Airport. And? Just okay. It was just okay. There was nothing that was it was like my bathroom, if you will. You could tell that somebody had been in there and cleaned the place, but it wasn't, fresh. It didn't have that freshly cleaned. Somebody is looking after this every 20 minutes feel like you get at some of the other airports. Anyway, 7:22 in the morning. You hear that voice? That's Jerry Roberts. A couple other numbers I'll give you before we get into the extra point. When I left, West Texas crude was trading at the low bargain price of $52.15 a barrel. Today, trading at $57.43. That's up by over $5 in just the week that I was gone.
But there's something good.
Where?
Guam is no longer the most expensive place for gasoline under the American flag.
Saw that. What's a riff on that in a second. $64.39 is where Tapas was when I left. It's up by $3.61 today, closing at about $68.08 for Tapas. So if you got used to buying gas around $4 and a nickel or $4.10, don't hold your breath on that. There's a possibility that there could be an adjustment that gets made on that. Big adjustment in California.
Oh, yes. Wonderful place to live.
Big adjustment in California. They have.
Oh man, I tell you,
we've got a liquid fuels tax around here about 15 cents.
You bark at politicians here.
Yeah.
Can you imagine If you were working talk radio in California, would you be going bonkers, man?
How did they let that go? How do they let that go?
I don't know.
Who is the version of Joe St. Augustine in California that allowed for a gas tax increase to go to 41 cents a gallon?
There's about 100 of them, apparently.
What the 41.7, and they still got people pooping in the streets in San Francisco.
$4 and 30 some odd cents.
Ouch.
Or something like that for regular gas. It's amazing.
Now I've been in Los Angeles, California, and they've got some nice streets there. The ones that the federal government pays for are nice streets. City streets, on the other hand, are just as bad as they are here. I found.
Yeah, I don't know.
But you have to look at this in the grand strategy scheme that California is undertaking. They're trying to get people out of their cars. They're trying to make California more green. No, this is really what they're trying to do. Trying to get them on bikes, trying to get them on mass transportation, and that's how to do it. Price the gas where they can't afford it, then they're going to have to.
They're getting them out all right.
Yeah.
But they're going across the state line and going someplace else. It's where they're going.
But the politicians aren't riding bikes, are they? They're not in the public transit. The politicians probably still driving around their big SUVs and flying private planes.
Yeah,
or flying commercial.
It's pretty straight.
So everybody else has to toe the line, but not the government.
What's kind of like here?
Yeah. 7:24 in the morning. There's the voice of Jerry Roberts. It must be time for the Extra Point, brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and my friends over at First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes.
Today, the story of how a simple mistake completely changed a life. This should prove how important customer service really is, and that's next on the Extra Point.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marineport Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
Travel the world and then some with the 2 million United Mile sweepstakes from First Hawaiian Bank. Enter and you could win the grand prize of 1 million miles or be one of 6 other lucky winners. The world is big. Our prize is bigger. Enter at fhb.com/2 million miles. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Sweepstake starts on May 1st and ends June 30th, 2019. Open to legal residents of Guam and CNMI. Ages 18 years or older. Visit 2millionmiles.com for official rules. First Hawaiian Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
How important is customer service? I had finished up 2 years at a junior college. That's what they call community colleges back then. Had a military deferment, and as long as I was in school, I was okay. And I was applying for a 4-year college to earn a communications degree. The ultimate goal was to go to USC for film school and have a career in movies or TV. I received some encouragement to do that from a producer named Gary Morton. Not familiar with that name? You might recognize his wife's name, Lucille Ball. He told me to call him, and he'd help if I ever wanted to get started. The student helper at the college took my application and told me it would be about a month before the start of classes when I'd get notice of acceptance. I was on my way, except that a month before classes began, I didn't get any notice. I called and asked about that and was told to be patient. Be patient, Jerry, and I'd certainly receive my letter shortly. 2 weeks passed, another call and another request for patience. 2 more weeks passed. And registration was in full force, so I nervously drove out to the school, and when I asked for help, I was told there was no application on file. My heart sank. What had happened to my application? Well, now it was too late. They promised to get me in for the next term. While working to earn tuition money and waiting, my draft notice arrived. The deferment had gone away, and the military wanted me, so I enlisted. 5 days into my enlistment, I called home to tell my mom how things were going, and she reported to me the college had sent me a letter. They had found my original application, discovering the girl I'd first spoken with had misplaced it. Congratulations, it read. I had been accepted. Just a little late. Now, military life was okay, and eventually I came around. They sent me out here to a small island of about 65,000 people, 2 traffic lights. Lots of folks went out without locking their doors. And if you dated a girl, you were dating one of her siblings that night as well. I fell in love with island life and the people of that small place, and the allure to be a movie or TV producer was forgotten. After a few years, I got a chance to usher in a style of radio the island hadn't heard before, and people accepted the brashness of J.Q. Fanihi. After the better part of 10 years, I left, then came back, and was again accepted in new roles here as a producer of trade shows, publisher of Directions magazine, and I've been allowed to train over 15,000 workers during the last 20 years or so. I found a pretty good girl who became the love of my life, married into a nice family, and I've got a teenager who drives me crazy, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't know if you've got a story of how a customer service person did something that totally changed your destiny, but mine was. The mistake made by the student helper in letting my college application go astray led to events that indeed altered my course. My desire for a career in Hollywood had been derailed, and I ended up thousands of miles away with a completely different life. I never learned her name, but wish I had. I would have liked to tell her this story and say thank you. That's the Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3, The Ray Gibson Show, Guahan Insurance Services, and First Hawaiian Bank. I'm Jerry Roberts.
That needed a music bed behind it.
I think so.
It needed it. Where's the little soft piano music bed that we play? That one. There it is, the Jerry Roberts self-eulogy. Very good. Excellent job.
But, you know, I tell the story sometimes when I'm teaching customer service. I have a course called CSI Guam, Customer Service Initiative Guam. And I tell stories like that, and I tell this one, because customer service people have the idea that it's just a job. And something they do doesn't really, it just doesn't really matter in the long run.
Just another day at work.
It does. I mean, it may not happen like this to a lot of people, but when people are in the health insurance business, that's pretty important. Other businesses, pretty important. Customer service means a lot. And if this girl had done her job and put my application up there, I never would have been here.
Different story.
Different
maybe a different guy doing the Extra Point, but
so.
we're lucky that she sucked at her job, and we got you here. At 7:30 in the morning, that's Jerry Roberts, and today's Extra Point brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank. Right now, it's time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post, and here's a man. Want to do the other music bed for him? And now Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post, who, if it were for no other reason, is here with us now. Good morning.
Good morning. Hafa Day, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, the Medical Cannabis Regulation Commission now has a list of 5 individuals interested in setting up a laboratory to conduct testing on medicinal marijuana. The cost of building a lab has been estimated at about $1 million. Public Health Director Linda DeNorsi is chairwoman of the Medicinal Cannabis Regulation Commission. She says she's planning to meet with the individuals interested in opening the lab. They've all been invited to the next Cannabis Commission meeting. DeNorsi says public health's involvement will be regulatory only. It won't be involved in funding, building, or managing the laboratory. The laboratory will be run by a private business, she said, and it will be used only for testing marijuana to ensure there are no contaminants that could be detrimental to health. Guam Department of Education is investigating allegations over the misuse of funds at Untalan Middle School. Superintendent John Fernandez says the department's internal audit office is looking into the issue. The investigation began last week, he said, and might be completed within the next week or two. Fernandez said the complaint was focused on funds raised for school activities, not appropriated funds. Fernandez said, we're trying to determine whether there was a misuse of funds. He was not able to provide an estimate on the amount that might have been misused. We're going to be looking for receipts, said Fernandez. The Nama Congregational Church in Mighty has been burglarized 3 times this past year, twice in the past week alone. The first break-in occurred in January when thieves stole a keyboard and some cash donated to the church. Church members Les Leon Inick and others told the Guam Daily Post that they had to raise funds to get another keyboard. Again, last Tuesday, Inick says she and others were getting ready to hold a youth meeting when they noticed the door handle to the meeting room was broken. Inside, they saw that the new keyboard they had just bought to replace the one stolen in January was missing. It had been stolen too. Burglars also stole the church's safe that contained offerings and donations, said Enoch. Then again, last Friday, the church was broken into once more, but Enoch said nothing seemed to be missing because there was nothing more to take. It's not good to steal, especially from a church, said Enoch. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Yes, 7:33 in the morning. That's iConnect time. Swing by the nearest iConnect and learn what you can about great plans that they can put together for you. Save you some money in 2019 on your mobile and internet plans.
We know too well the inconvenience of not having power after a storm. You worry about the food in the freezer going bad. Nights get hot. It's hard finding comfort when going to sleep. These are realities. But with solar and battery storage from Micronesia Renewable Energy, these realities can be a thing of the past. The solar works during the day and the batteries power your home at night. Call 632-2613 to see how solar plus battery storage can make life a little more convenient. MRE, the smarter choice.
Might be some traffic here and a little bit more on the roadways as Kevin Kerrigan is going to split. I'm going to take care of the news responsibilities for the rest of the morning here. He's going to take off and go cover the press conference that is being called over at the legislature. Senator Telena Nelson talking about the resolution to push the pause button on construction up at the firing range. That'll be interesting to see how many people that originally put their name on that resolution that are walking that back now. Who will stand at her side? 7:34. Do we have traffic today? You might see traffic at some of the intersections. That's generally where it's happening. Got some work here on San Antonio over by the intersection where 3 Squares is at. Might see a little bit of traffic leaning in from 10A, making your way towards Marine Corps Drive. Traffic around the airport seems to be moving all right. Might see a little bit of traffic up in the Dededo area as well. And what have we got here up in Jigo? Nothing major over by Anderson Air Force Base. Doesn't look like it's getting too busy over by Navy Hospital, and Big Navy down in Sumai is going to start getting busy here in the next couple of minutes. 7:35. That's your right now traffic here on the point.
Hey, it's Mom. Somebody forgot to thaw the chicken, so meet us at Chili's for 2 for $25. Oh, and congratulate your sister for making the basketball team. She's thrilled. Love you. See you at Chili's.
Enjoy 2 full meal combos for $25. An appetizer, 2 mouth-watering entrees like our crispy chicken breast, smoked barbecue quarter leg, or smoked jalapeno cheddar sausage. Served with corn on the cob and french fries. 2 bold combos for $25. A full-on meal deal available nightly for a limited time. Together, we Chili's.
Eight 255-888-TALK is the phone number here on the radio station. You got something on your mind, you want to get rid of it, then you call me and I will handle it. Now, I'm of the mind that I should probably try to do some kind of research here in the program every once in a while. But the problem is I'm inherently a lazy guy, so it probably isn't going to happen. I want to, as an example, I want to take a look at some footage from the legislature, because they had a public hearing last week on Bill 88-35, sponsored by my friend Tina Rose Munya Barnes, which would exempt home kitchens licensed as a home industry from sanitation laws and stipulating requirements for these home kitchens. You'll recall when this was first introduced, there were a number of people. First of all, my initial concern was, really, you're kidding. The big crime wave that we have here, the homeless problem, crystal methamphetamine, and this is the kind of legislation that we can expect from the 35th Guam legislature, is we're going to find a way to make it so that anybody that wants to, has the desire to infect us with E. coli and salmonella, can do it whenever they want to and never have to worry about somebody from public health coming to shut them down. We've solved all of our problems, and we now have time for forward-thinking, progressive ideas like this one here. So anyway, nobody listens to me, right? So they just went ahead and said, well, we're going to put it on the calendar anyway. And they had a public hearing. So this is the part where I'm going, I should take the time to go to the Legislative's YouTube channel and sit there and watch this dog and pony show unfold. I've decided that I should do it, but as I said earlier, and as many of you already know, I'm the laziest guy there is. So I may assign somebody the lovable task of being able to do something like that. I may also, in another world where I am the actual Ayatollah, I am also the guy that would like to take all of the episodes of the 35th or 34th and probably the 36th Guam legislature and do it like, you remember that scene in Big where Tom Hanks's character tells the secretary, do me a favor, go down to media and have them send up the hockey game, but take out all of the commercials and the dead parts and the talking. Just take all. That's what I want to be able to do with the legislative channel is just to be able to just the parts where they're talking, and that's all I want. Not any of the. We're going to take a 30-second recess that turns into a half hour, and if Joe's around, Joe will call for lunch, and take out all of that stuff and just do the action parts of it. That's what I'd like to see. So if you could handle that for me and just send me the clips of the public hearing, that would be awesome. I appreciate that. Sherry Lynn Diffentorum's online. I see Joanne Renee and Lynn Perez. Who else is playing around here? Lynn apparently has lost a lot of weight. I haven't seen her in about a week and a half or something like that, but I ran into somebody that said that Lynn looking really good these days. Where am I? 20 away from is where I'm supposed to be. And who am I hanging out with? Ah, there he is. I was lamenting in the last hour of the program, and if you were listening, you heard the lamentations loud and clear about a particular video. I'm going to play this video again. It is the scene at just over the weekend at the Inarahan Pools. Maybe one of the jewels in Guam's crown of just. It's just so pretty you can't take your eyes off the place. It's just so, oh my God, that if you got friends, relatives, family coming in from the States, this is one of those places that you would take them. Because we got to go by the Inarahan Pools. Bring your swim trunks. Let's go. We'll go dive off what used to be the platform there into the very rocky waters. You got to be careful out there. And now the place, it was just trashed over the weekend. Just an incredible amount of trash that has just been piled. Now I don't know who to blame for the trash being there in the first place. Which litter bug left it there? Which partiers that could not be otherwise delayed to pick up their own trash, and if the things were full, take it with them and dump it at your own house. But that's what we've got. Nobody from the mayor's office apparently running around taking a look at the place. Now, we are not without resources here. You would never see something like that up at Two Lovers Point. Why? Because there is a public-private relationship between that jewel in our hospitality crown and a local business. And it is to everyone's benefit, the tourists, the residents, the business, that those parks and those facilities are maintained. Why cannot we do that with the Inarahan Pools? There's a piece of legislation, Bill number 58, over at the 35th Guam Legislature, introduced by my friend Jimmy Moylan. Good morning, Senator. Thanks for joining me today.
You're welcome, Ray. Good morning to you.
Thank you very much.
Really, I like your excitement and your energy this morning. I was laughing listening along with your discussion. Very good.
Which one? The discussion about how it is we're now going to make virtually every kitchen on Guam a salmonella and an E. coli business.
Yeah, that one in particular. Yes.
Yeah. No, it's I just what could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, and making us into a TV show. There was that one TV show, The Office. I can imagine one called the Legislature.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting that would be.
Yeah. I don't. That's a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week thing, and all we're missing now is the multimedia aspect of that. Frankly, though, I know a lot of people that when the legislative channel goes on, that's their entertainment. Sometimes the legislature is the entertainment branch of the government of Guam.
That's right. We haven't thrown any hot dogs, but we've thrown a few ideas out there.
Oh, just any minute now. Any minute now. So you let me know. Like I said, I'm looking at bills that are being introduced over at the legislature, none of which solve any of our problems here. So I'm delighted that the rare exception is bill number 58. And if we could get somebody, a public-private partnership together with somebody down there that can help maintain and entertain the tourists, make sure that the bathrooms are clean and open all the time.
Correct. And that's Bill 58. And if we go back to that contract that GovGuam recently signed for the cleaning of our bathrooms and the cleaning of the parks, that's a purchase order of $100,000 for the remainder of this fiscal year, I believe. I think the total contract is over close to $300,000. And that's for 15 beach parks. And one of them, that mentioned, is Ipan Beach Park, which I plan to go down there today. And over the weekend also, I visited the Chinese park across Kmart, which is a beautiful location, but it's just it's so
that's for ice dealers. I think that's ice dealers. I'm serious. I don't. There was only one guy that I knew that gave any love for the place. His name, Art Murgis. He used to be a teacher down south, and he would go down there himself and maintain some of the plants down there. And there's actually a couple of plants that he and I have put in the ground there that are in memorial for people. That he's put on the property. So as near as I can tell, it was him and just the ice dealers that used that place.
I was there in the early morning, and one funny-looking car kind of pulled up and then moved away. But I stayed long enough to take my pictures. And otherwise, it's really unutilized. It's unsightly. The bathrooms are closed. The sinks are damaged. It's locked. The condition of the field or the park itself is sad. And that's the first one on the list of these 15 parks that the government has contracted to already. The contract is already in place, so we're paying money. The government is paying money for a service not being provided. So I can imagine the others.
Oh, wow, what an amazing thing. The government is paying money for a service that's not being provided. It's the same government that apparently allowed the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission did not collect $5.7 million from one of these massive AT&T type companies out in the States that are using property around here to the tune of $5.7 million, and nobody could be bothered to go after them for the money.
Yeah, what can I say? And just what you mentioned on Bill 58, the idea was it's still government land. It's still a park owned by the people of Guam, and the contract's going to be overseen by departments of Parks and Recreation, and the IFB will go out to say specifically what they want done. And that business person, of course, would need to make some sort of capital, but if they can redesign it, they can make it nicer, they can redo the plans, they can have a security there, they can put air conditioning into the bathrooms and keep them unlocked and close the gates when they're supposed to be closed, but also keep them open in the evening times for some beautiful pictures. Like in the evening, if you had pictures at Inarahan Beach, at Inarahan Pool, how nice that will be, or the Chinese park. Some evening pictures, maybe have a little coffee or a little glass of wine and some cheese, or have a little barbecue event in the evening because you feel safe.
Well, let me throw this out here, and it's not devil's advocate throw it out here. It's just the process of cleaning up after the parks and watching the bathrooms and things like that. That's not GVB's primary responsibility. That's the Department of Parks and Recreation's primary responsibility. And while I appreciate and applaud the idea that there might be an opportunity for third-party, private sector participation here, it is still the responsibility of the government of Guam. Why have they consistently, over the years, systemically is a word that I'd like to use, failed?
Yeah, that's the word. And they can come back and say, we don't have the resources, we don't have the equipment, or you can come back and say, I'm going to be creative, and these are the different things we could do. There are 70 parks, and to fix them all up at one time, there's no budget to do that. To give them the manpower they need to have in order to run it properly, and the equipment, we could focus our resources on that. Or we should be focusing our resources on education and the hospital and public safety. But in the meantime, we need these parks for the people of Guam and for our tourists. And the tourists are ones that bring in the money, our biggest industry. And that money then goes to our government funds. and it pays for these social programs that we need. It pays to fix our roads. It pays to give people jobs, and we move forward from there. So to be innovative and excited about different ideas and different things we should do, and that's what Bill 58 is about. To me, I see some success in Two Lovers Point. I remember going there as a kid and getting sticker birds all over me. But
yeah. And there wasn't, there might be a lot of people that go, well, they kind of Disneylanded the place, but so what? We get a lot of people up there that go for the view, and now you can go for a cold beer and a cheeseburger over at the whatever the name of the restaurant is up there. There's just, there's so many good things that could have happened out there, and there's no reason why the pools down in Iran and virtually every other great scenic spot could not be treated the same way. So now you've had a public hearing on that, right?
I sure have, and then I had meetings thereafter, and now it's in committee, and I'm trying to get it through committee so we can have a session for it.
Right.
And that's where we're at.
Okay. Yeah. But they're busy with other groundbreaking progressive deals like balloon bans.
You could say that, and there's other issues too. This morning they're looking at as well. I think there's a press conference here coming up this morning.
Yeah, there's a press conference on the one thing that's happening around here that's actually good for business and good for labor and good for workers around here. Now they want to put a stop to it because they found a tree that they already knew was there. And they already knew it was the last of its kind. And the military already knew it was the last of its kind, and they're going to take care of it. But no. We gotta get all bedwetty about this.
From my research and what I'm gathering, the Navy has dedicated acres. If I'm wrong, I think I understood 30 acres where they have taken these seedlings, I guess, and have replanted it. And University of Guam, I believe, has the seedlings also, and they're growing. So what the military is doing is gating this humongous lot away from the firing range, I believe, and they're going to remove the boars, they're going to remove the deer, they're going to eradicate the rhino beetles and the snakes and so forth, and they're going to make this like a forest with these trees that were dying on Guam, and we were fortunate to discover it, and we're going to replant it. And the contract, what I understand, is like a 30-year period contract that the military will maintain this. So probably we can get some school bus kids up there and take a tour, and then eventually these trees can be replanted throughout the island.
Yeah, if it's such a big deal, just plant one in your governor's house. Put it over there. I don't know. You know what? We got to have a beer summit just one of these days. It's been a little bit too long. It's all of these things here that I'm looking at, and the disappointment that while Rome is burning around us, while we've got felons committing crimes while they're on release from felony convictions, from felony arrests, we've seen the PD ended a story on this the other day, and they've actually got a number on it: 158 charges of felony while on felony release. And that's 158 people that have been arrested by the Guam Police Department and put in front of a judge, only to have the judge say, I ain't got time for you right now, son, so I'm going to release you. And you go out and with nothing more than a hearty handshake and a good luck, and I'll see you whenever we get onto the trial. And 158 people have disappointed the judge and this community, but it doesn't seem like there's any kind of penalty on them, number one, and number two, I don't see the judges getting any kind of swat on their wrists for letting these guys back into the community where they can continue to sin. And these are not small crimes: criminal sexual conduct, armed robbery, kidnapping, waving around machetes, etc.
Yes. And I've introduced a bill for that as well. First, second, third degree with those charges, that it's more stringent if you're going to get released, not on your own reconnaissance, but you actually had to post your bail, and you had to pay for your bail. You just not, I'll pay for it. I think it needs to be harder. Yes, I think the people need rehabilitation. Yes, I think there's a problem with drugs. Yes, I think it's going to take a village to help the people, because at the end they'll be released and back into our community. In the meantime, while we figure out how to do that, I think it's important to protect the public. For those that are helping to support and paying their taxes, that helps facilitate or helps pay for Department of Corrections, increase in guards and increase in programs. And not just letting these folks out to finally realize when I'm finally ready after the 5th time, I'm ready to be rehabilitated.
You know, these guys that robbed the San Jose store the other night. I mean, what are the odds that they are known to the police, that they are recidivists, and that they are probably on some kind of felony release as well? I think they've got some pretty good footage on this. They've probably already got a couple of leads on that case. It'll be interesting when these guys finally get arrested to find out just how long their rap sheet is already and which judge they were in front of that said, "Don't have time for your trial right now, so don't mess up inside of 3 years, and we'll see what happens." So I'm just watching and see how that plays, and to what degree we know who these people already are.
Exactly.
Hey, you know, I know it's not your bill. I got to let you run here in a second because I know you want to. Sure. I know you want to be there for that press conference. You know, because the tree. So just one thing, if you could do me a favor, Joe S. has got the Stand Your Ground bill. Can see if you can find somebody and see if we can put some pressure on at least getting a public hearing on that?
Absolutely. Yes, we've been thinking about that as well.
Yeah.
You're correct. I'll be happy to.
We need, and I don't know when that's eventually going to happen.
I hear you.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it. I'll talk to you pretty soon. Don't initial anything without checking with me first.
You got it.
I appreciate it. Senator Jim Moylan from the 35th Guam Legislature. There it is. Is the one guy that knows where the ball is and seems to be able to watch it bounce. 7:55, got John on the line. Good morning, John.
Hi, good morning, Ray. Welcome back.
Yay for being home. That's such a great feeling. When the airplane starts going down and you look out the window and you can see your house. What a great feeling that is.
Oh, yes, it is, I bet. I just wanted to make a comment about earlier you were talking about the felony release and all these guys going back to jail and stuff. I believe maybe you're all filing when I believe there's this one guy that got arrested. I think he's last name's Long or something.
Yeah.
And he wrote a letter saying that he doesn't want to go to court. He wants to plead guilty. He doesn't want to waste our tax-paying money. He did the mistake. He's guilty. And then the judge says, "No, you better think about it." I don't understand that.
Right, the guy. Yeah, I did read that story in the Post the other. I went through all of the newspapers that were published while I was gone. I did run into that one. I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. Guy's in front of Judge Menabusen says, "Guilty. I'm guilty. Yeah. Put the handcuffs on me. Put the ankle thing. Send me to prison. I want to go to prison because I'm guilty. I've wronged the people of Guam. I want to atone for my sins." And the judge says, "No."
You're pleading guilty too fast. Think about it.
What? This is not a small crime that this guy Long was copping to. He was dealing crystal methamphetamine.
Yeah, that's why I think everyone that got busted and then went to jail for maybe 6 months comes out and thinks they could do it again because hey, I could go in there a year, maybe 2 years. It's all right. And then the only one that gets messed up is the community, us. Because we have to pay for it again and again and again.
Well, did you see this morning's headlines where there is a church that has been broken? It's almost a daily occurrence at this place. They might as well. You get some of these places, just take the doors and the windows off because they don't do anything. You're just going to have to replace it. Might as well just put a curtain there, and if you want to come in, just come in.
Yeah, geez. And then what's the other one? San Jose. Those guys that robbed them early in the morning.
Yep.
I watched the video on Facebook. I believe whoever was taking the money, there's fingerprints everywhere.
Yeah,
they'll get him.
Well, the cops probably already know who these guys are. They just, we just got to get some kind of evidence where these guys aren't wearing hoodies and have their faces covered. I mean, I'm sure that there might be a way that they can look at surveillance images of the area around it and come up with an answer. But it will not surprise me when the arrests are made, when we find out who these guys are, that they've got arrest records. They are probably out on some kind of a felony release. Some judge let them go. And now we have elevated the crime now, not just to waving machetes around, but somebody in there with a handgun or something that looks like a handgun.
Exactly.
And this is what's going to happen now. 757, John, I've been advocating But number one, because it's the Second Amendment, and I think everybody that wants one should be able to get a gun anytime they want to. But number two, I am suggesting that it's every man for himself around here. The cops can only do so much with the limited resources that they have, and we've got a criminal justice system here that seems hell-bent on making sure that nobody goes to jail. And as a result of that, I think what's going to happen is there's going to be something like that at a San Jose or a mom-and-pop place where there will be somebody with a gun. Then there's going to be gunplay and shots fired.
Shots fired, exactly. That's coming.
It's coming. It's coming because there's just a renegade lawlessness in this community that we don't seem to be able to get a handle on. But you know what? Home kitchens. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make it so anybody can make Kelligwin and sell it anywhere and any way they want to. We're going to ban balloons, Chetlu, because the turtle.
We gotta have crazy laws in order to protect ourselves.
Exactly. You know, and we've got Pito Turlai that was running around in an interview on the Post a couple of weeks ago saying that the media is exaggerating these stories. Guam is safe, and I know people take the cell phones in the house in case there's a home invasion.
Yes.
So I don't know what planet these people are living on, but it ain't the same one that you and I are driving around in.
Exactly, Ray. Welcome home. Welcome back.
Yeah, it's good to be home. I'll see you pretty soon, Cello.
Okay.
Gun up, be safe. 7:59 and change. The radio station is KUSG Hagutnya. My name is Ray Gibson. Fox News Live is coming up here in just seconds. On the other side of that, I will take you through all the big stories in the Guam Daily Post because Kevin is covering the resolution press conference over at the legislature. Maybe if we'll give that about a half hour and then we'll give him a ring and find out just what a state of bedwetting there is over at the legislature over the tree. 8 o'clock in the morning, KUSG Hagutnya. I already said that. Fox News Live coming up. Me with news coming up. Oh, we got sports with Blake. That's ahead right here on The Point.
Democrats campaigning in South Carolina this weekend, but not this candidate. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News. That's South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg facing a crowd not from potential primary voters, but angry constituents in his city of 100,000. This after a police shooting 1 week ago today.
At the end of the day, I'm responsible.
Some in South Bend calling for the firing of the city's police chief and the officer involved in that shooting. Buttigieg responding.
I can't speak to the specifics of Sunday's incident now because that's under review.
10 people shot in South Bend early this morning, at least one person fatally. Buttigieg has had a strained relationship with African Americans in his community. Does not bode well in states like South Carolina, where black Democrats play an important role in determining the party's presidential nominee. Former Vice President Joe Biden's comments about segregationist Southern senators still a topic of discussion, at least on the Sunday news shows. California Senator Kamala Harris on CBS's Face the Nation.
Praising and coddling individuals who made it their life works and built their reputation off of segregation of the races in the United States. That's a problem. I would not be a member of the United States Senate if those men that he praised had their way.
Senator Cory Booker came out forcefully against Biden when he said two senators with whom Biden worked on legislation would not have called him boy, but referred to him as son. Also on Face the Nation, Vice President Pence.
We never comment on covert operations.
Pence asked about a reported cyber attack targeting Iran's missile and rocket launching capabilities. This is Fox News.
Let's see now. Fast, easy, affordable. That's the best way to describe my home loan at Bank Pacific. Fast because we give quick decisions. Easy because we've cut back on the paperwork. Affordable because today's home loan rates are still so low. So see us today to refinance or consolidate or to buy or build your new home and save yourself some money.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Viva Bank Pacific.
When it comes to power and performance, nothing compares to Dodge. And right now at Cars Plus in Mighty, you can save thousands on many Dodge vehicles in stock during our Dodge Performance Days. Like a new 2019 Grand Caravan SE, save $4,250 or save $6,150 on a new Durango SXT. Looking for more power? Take home a new Charger SXT Plus today for only $37,689 or save over $7,000 on a new Challenger GT. Get more power and performance at Cars Plus in Mighty during Dodge Performance Days. Cars Plus, driven by you.
ICE is not rounding up migrants, at least not today, after word leaked to the news media. The plans put on hold.
President Trump says the halt in rounding up those in the country illegally is only temporary. Texas GOP Congressman Mac Thornberry said on ABC's This Week, now is the time for the White House and Congress to sit down and come up with an agreement.
At least work through some of these immigration issues. Right now, we're trying to get some additional funding to take care of the migrants who are at the border. That's been far harder than it should be, and it's humanitarian.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was among those calling for the president to delay the raids. The president says he's giving Congress only 2 weeks before he reconsiders the roundup.
Fox's Gernal Scott. The mayors of New York City, the nation's capital, Los Angeles, and Minneapolis, among those who objected to the family deportation plan, offering help to any migrants who need it. Another American dies while vacationing in the Dominican Republic.
Vittorio Caruso, now the latest of at least 12 deaths, the third in just a week-long span. His sister-in-law tells us he was in good health. He went to the Dominican alone and was staying at the Boca Chica Resort in Santo Domingo. She says that's where he got sick after, quote, drinking something.
Fox's Isa Hosni. Caruso rushed to the hospital in Santo Domingo, complaining of respiratory problems like the other victims had. It was 10 years ago this Tuesday that Michael Jackson died from a propofol overdose at the age of 50. Many of his fans remain loyal, although the HBO documentary Leaving Netherland, which claims the King of Pop was a child molester, prompting some radio stations to stop playing his music. Jackson's sister Janet plays several of her brother's hits during her residency at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. I'm Jane Metzler, and this is Fox News.
Regardless of your age, your eye health may be at significant risk from diabetes, cataracts, glaucoma, and retina problems. A comprehensive eye health exam is key to maintaining your precious gift of sight. Contact Island Eye Specialists to schedule an appointment today. That's 637-2020 or online at islandeyeguam.com. We accept Staywell, Take Care, Calvo Select Care, and Netcare Health Insurance. Island Eye Specialists. We are your eye doctor.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 Data-to-Go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The US, China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is Data-to-Go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
When your family needs medical care, how often do you find the need to visit multiple clinics? When a child has a serious ailment, do you find yourself meeting a medical provider only to learn you must go somewhere else for testing? At the FHP Health Center, you can find multiple specialties and testing services under one roof. And if your family needs urgent care, FHP is there for you with convenient weekday, evening, and weekend hours. Voted the island's best clinic and Pica's best 2 years in a row. FHP, our island, your clinic. Learn more at fhpguam.com.
Day and good morning, Guam. News time at the point. It's 7 minutes after 8 o'clock on a Monday morning. I'm Ray Gibson. Here's a look at some of the top stories from today's Guam Daily Post. Police are asking for the public's help in finding two men who robbed the San Jose market in Mighty yesterday morning with a machete and what appeared to be a handgun. Surveillance video shows two men entering the store about 4:40 in the morning. They were wearing hooded sweatshirts, masks, covered their face. One suspect appeared to be carrying a black handgun. The other, armed with a machete, appears to threaten the cashier, who was seen trying to run away. The cashier was forced back to the cash register, where he grabbed the money, and both men then fled. One suspect wearing light-colored hoodie, a hat, khaki shorts, and white slippers. The other suspect, a red hoodie with light-colored pants. If you have information, call the police dispatch line at 472-8911 or Guam Crime Stoppers at 477-4357. A resolution proposed by Senator Tilena Nelson is calling for the suspension of all construction activity on the firing range complex on Northwest Field at Anderson Air Force Base. First version of the resolution circulated Friday called for a halt to the clearing, pre-construction, data recovery, and construction activities on the firing range. Then initialed by Senators Therese Terlahi, Sabina Perez, Amanda Shelton, Kelly Marsh, Clint Rigel, Tina Rose Munya-Barnes, Tello Taitagui, Will Castro, and Luis Munya. The Daily Post has learned that questions were subsequently raised about the cost of stopping construction on the firing range, which would prompt layoffs of local workers and a loss of income to Gov. Guam. Some senators have since asked for their endorsement of the resolution to be removed. The resolution was subsequently revised to ease the tone, calling for a pause in fire range construction rather than a halt. Senator Nelson has called a news conference this morning at 8. More news after this.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Mark Benventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumamo. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Remind me to riff on this later. Public Safety Oversight Chair Senator Jose Terlahi has reaffirmed his confidence in Department of Corrections Director Samantha Brennan after her mental health evaluation report was released. The report recommended Brennan for the job, but also cautioned she might not do well under certain stressful situations. Licensed clinical psychologist Dr. Andrea Lighthizer conducted an evaluation of Brennan to determine if she was fit for duty. The evaluation was conducted in March, weeks before she appeared before lawmakers for a confirmation hearing in which she received overwhelming support. According to Lighthizer's evaluation, Brennan could benefit from interpersonal effectiveness training. The report states, quote, if symptoms prove to be habitual, reconsideration or removal from her position should be discussed for both benefit of the candidate and the population she serves. Senators gave her a unanimous green light for the top job at that prison facility. Guam Department of Education investigating allegations over the misuse of funds at Untalan Middle School. Superintendent John Fernandez said the department's internal audit office is looking into the issue. The investigation began last week and might be completed within the next 2 weeks. Fernandez said the complaint was focused on funds raised for school activities. He said they're trying to determine whether there was a misuse of funds. He wasn't able to provide an estimate of the amount that was misused. Says, we're going to be looking for some receipts, says John Fernandez. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or grab a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. And about time for one of us to take a look at what's happening in the weather. Doesn't look like all that much has changed since I've been and come back. I've still got basically the same weather pattern over the island of Guam. We got partly cloudy skies, winds out east, 10 to 15 miles an hour. Might see some light showers. It's possible, but kind of unlikely under the circumstances that we've got around here these days. Don't have weather, but we do have the satellite image. Michael Knight's going to take a look at it and give you an idea of what might be lurking to the southeast of the island.
Yeah, we've got 95W Invest that is down to the southeast. It's going to stay down there for the next couple of days, kind of mill about and get slowly organized. It's not going to organize into anything significant, but it will kind of get its act together and then start to track off to the northwest in our general direction. Right now, the Weather Service is kind of on the fence as far as whether it stays far enough south of us or comes into our area, and that's going to really determine how much rain and stuff that we get from it. But right now, they're not expecting a whole lot in the way of rainfall. One thing to note, when you were looking at that satellite picture, you could already see the high clouds streaming over us from that system. And That means that in the upper levels of the atmosphere, you already have an outflow that's gaining established. So if all other things are equal, that being the water surface temperature and a sufficient amount of swirl in the atmosphere at the surface, it could form into something. We'll have to keep our eye on it, but it doesn't look like anything significant will bother us in the meantime.
Nice.
So it should be good. Yeah.
I got you. 8:12 in the morning, and that's news and weather together here on The Point.
Your home is one of the most important investments you'll make in your life. At Nanbo Insurance, you can rest easy knowing that you're covered with reliable and affordable homeowners insurance. Nanbo makes it easy to protect what matters the most so you can enjoy the moments that matter the most. With Nanbo, you can also save big when you bundle up and insure your car, home, motorcycle, or business. Enjoy great savings up to 50%. Visit nanbo.com or call 477-9754 for more details.
The Ray Gibson Show being brought to you by my pals over at Security Title. And you absolutely need to know that that you have got clean title on a property you want to buy or sell. Also being brought to you by American President Lines. APL is shipping the future. Micronesia Renewable Energy. There's never been a better time to go solar. And the guys over at, is it Cold Stone or Wendy's? All right, so my friends over at Wendy's, they've got this made-to-crave menu. I'm sure you've seen it as you've been driving by the place. And you're going, that sounds interesting. What's on it? Peppercorn mushroom burger, as a matter of fact, is on that menu. You'll also find a Southwest barbecue, so it's got that kind of sweet, sour, tangy barbecue sauce on the burger, as well as another one that's just loaded with bacon. It's the Sawsum sauce and the bacon. Outstanding combination. Find that for sale at Wendy's.
Let's go for a drive.
Let's take a stroll. Let's gallivant. Let's go cruising.
We all have different ways to describe how we get up and go in our cars. But whatever you may call it, you can do more of it when you save 6% off your fuel purchases at any Shell station when you use your eligible Bank of Guam Visa and MasterCard credit cards. So stop by any Guam or CNMI Shell station and start saving today. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
I got you. Ray Gibson Show brought to you by Take Care Insurance and my friends over at Cars Plus, where they've got the, what is it, the performance days that are going on these days. They got all kinds of great cars, a bunch of great-looking Dodge cars. They got the Charger and the other one. Challenger. Charger and Challenger. That's what they are. 1.99% APR. You're going to love the maintenance plan that they're going to put on these automobiles for you. Find out more by visiting Cars Plus in Mighty.
Rediscover talk radio here. It's the Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
O'clock in the morning, and remind me, there's a story in the newscast that I just read from the Guam Daily Post about we've got Dep Corps Director Sam Brennan, who's apparently they conducted some kind of a mental health checkup on her, and Jose says, yeah, no problem, don't make a big deal about it. And so remind me to talk about that. There's a couple of interesting things that arise out of the idea that these folks are getting psych evaluations that are being monitored and reviewed by the people over at the legislature. Like all of them are yeah, we're the standard for normal in this town. Anyway, 8:15 in the morning, had just the delight of sitting around the Ninoy Airport in the Philippines, Ninoy Aquino Airport, Terminal 2, which is one of the, if you do it right, you know what, they stopped selling beer there. All that, yeah, let me just, yeah. Because it's an international trip, right? And so I'm in Makati at the Shangri-La, going, okay, got to get to the airport because the flight's at 11 o'clock. I'm leaving at 11 o'clock. And so I'm thinking, okay, it's about 7:30, 7:45. It's time to get in the Grab, go to the airport, and, go through the process, what is it, 4 security screenings that you've got to do. At any rate, so I was able to do it. I got through the mess real quick, and I get to the other side, get past, and I'm, over there is where the massages are, and over there is the hot dog place, and I can get a hot dog and a cold beer, and I'll be a happy guy.
Good. Just wait, and then just wait.
There's no beer. There was no beer for sale anymore at the airport.
What about wine? Because they have that little French bistro.
No, they water and soda was all they had, and so and I love this part here. Although I shouldn't complain about it, right? So I'm sitting at the charging station. I got the laptop open. I got Netflix is downloading a movie that I can watch while the plane is in the air, and so I'm happy. And then they call my name over the loudspeaker, Mr. William Gibson. Can you please come?
Passenger William Gibson.
So I bundle up all of my stuff, and I got my water, and I walk back there, and I go through the last of the security checkpoints, and the guy says, you can't bring the water through here, which I just opened, which now all of a sudden I've got to down 12 ounces. Now, if it was beer, down 12 ounces, I'd do that no problem. The water's different, right?
Weird how that works. It's easier to down beer than it is water.
Anyway, so I got through, and I get to the counter. I was like, yes, I'm Passenger Gibson. Can I, why am I being inconvenienced? And the lady says, well, you didn't want to sit in 66K because it's too close to the bathroom, so we moved you up to 44.
So, well, that's good, though.
Yeah, so, that was worth me, down in my water real quick. Okay, fine, I'm happy now. So thank you very much, Philippine Airlines, for the courtesy.
There is just a segue into sports. There is it's funny you say that because there is a video making its way on Twitter. I found it on House of Highlights at House of Highlights on Twitter. Cam Newton, there's video of this from a passenger. Cam Newton offered a man $1,500 cash for extra legroom on a 10-hour flight. And the man said no.
No
I'm
way.
good. I'm good. Yeah, there's video. So even Cam, like when the guys are shaking his head, Cam's kind of looking at him with a smile, like, really? $1,500 for legroom? And the guy was like, nah, I'm good.
Because he would have had to change seats or something?
Yeah. He would have had to go, I guess, somewhere else. And neither of them looked like they're in first class, so I don't think it's like that. But yeah, Cam Newton professional athlete offered this guy $1,500 cash.
And he turned it down.
And he said no.
Nice.
On a 10-hour flight, which I guess I get.
Yeah, it's 3 hours and 45 minutes between Manila and Guam International Airport, and I had the pleasure of sharing the seat and a big chunk of the airplane with a bunch of girl volleyball players.
They were headed out.
I want to say there were tumblers on it too. I'm not sure exactly what was going on. There were a lot of athletes on the flight last night. There were a bunch of them coming home, and I think most of them were volleyball players because I saw something in one of the newspapers this morning talking about the victories that they had in the Philippines, so that they were all coming back from that. But there was a whole contingent of kids from Guam and the CNMI walking around the airport last night.
Our airport?
No, the Philippine airport.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm not like nosy or anything. I was hunting for beer. I wasn't curious as to why they were there, so I didn't bother to ask anybody. But there were a whole bunch of them making their way back and forth. So I will start with that. What was it exactly that the girls' volleyball team was doing in the Philippines?
Seems that they went 3-0 in the first 3 days of the tune-up games. The Guam women's national, let's see here, volleyball team were just over there gearing up, I think, for what am I trying to say? For the Pacific Games, which is coming up. So I think we just sent them over there to kind of get ready, kind of get some, chemistry building, maybe some friendlies and get them all ready for Samoa, which I think they will leave for in about 13 days. Gearing up for that because also locally we had some local paddling down at Matapang Beach over the weekend, and that of course is also gearing up all the paddlers for their to showcase or not to showcase to represent Guam.
I see.
At the Pacific Games. So we're kind of using this, and we've had actually while you were gone, there were two. Well, last Friday and the Friday before that, there were two I don't know what you call them, but they were basically like national level track meets at JFK. Regine Tagati ran in them. I think either Derek or Desmond was there as well. But again, those are all four.
Desmond is just as fast as Daryl and maybe a hair better looking. I just throw that out there every once in a while.
But yeah, because I know, my good friend Regine Tagati, she's on island for the Pacific Games, and so there, and this wasn't like a high school level. This was, this is right out of high school, kind of the actual
it's like
national.
Well, if Regine was there, then it was world class.
Yeah, national. Yeah, national. It was
we talk
national
about her enough. We should bring her in one morning.
I've tried. She wants to. But it's hard to track her down.
Yeah, well, and then there's this to be said about that. There are for us, wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, be here, and bright and shiny at 6 o'clock. I mean, for some people, that's would be a miracle. And I've talked to people. They're folks from the EIF that want to get on the radio. I'm like, yeah, take it at 9. Can we do it any later? I said, yeah, then it's not the morning show. if we do it later, it's not the morning show. So see, that's what we're going to have to be dealing with. Maybe tomorrow we'll get these guys in. So it might be the case with her in that, if I'm going to wake up that early, I got to do. I'm training. I'm not going to go and bug guys at a radio station.
Right. Yeah.
So there's that, and apparently I had no idea, and we're done with the finals of. There was girls football being played on Guam.
Yeah, big time. And I'm saying big time because 8 in a row. Team Legacy. We talked about this before this game. The league, the Guam Women's Tackle Football League, is 8 years old.
Yep.
Team Legacy just won their 8th straight title.
Team to beat.
In the league. A height no other football team on Guam has been able to reach, according to the story I'm reading. They did so off the fast feet of Helena Garcia. She scored the final, I guess the go-ahead touchdown. They needed 10 yards. She gives them 11, and that is enough. Team Legacy, they don't blow them out like they're used to doing, but they do win. 26-22, Team Legacy hoists the championship trophy for the 8th time. They beat the Island Stunners at the ULG Field over the weekend. In 3rd place, it was the, let's see here, Sindalu taking on the Saints. Sindalu gets a big, let's see here, quarterback. Chelsea Goffigan chips in big, and Sindalu beat the Saints 18-8 to take 3rd place.
I think that is awesome. Didn't actually watch any sports while I was off island.
No cricket in Singapore?
No, if they did, the last time I was there for something like that, I want to say everybody was gaga over FIFA. But I don't think that there was nothing like that was going on here. And frankly, all of the television sets that I were watching were on news and not sports. So,
really?
Yeah, it was like that. I think, and didn't obviously nothing major going on in the Philippines either.
No, well, I think it's Women's World Cup right now, and I don't think either of those countries qualified. I know Philippines didn't qualify for the Women's World Cup, so that's probably why you didn't see anything.
Not in anything like that. And I guess Mark Colby is back over at the Guam Major League.
Yes, while you were gone, they put Mark back in the chair.
Okay. Now, is he allowed to put everything on Facebook, or did they back off on that?
No Facebook, but he did, and it was strange because I guess right after you left, I was put back into the Guam Major League chat group, and I was like, oh, what's going on here? And then of course, Mark sent out a mass, hey, I'm back, but in limited capacity. He can only kind of inform us via the chat, right, Mike? And then I think Facebook is off limits for him. But,
yeah, for no good reason other than what people will watch it on Facebook instead of coming to the game.
I guess
doesn't work like that.
Don't you want them to watch it all?
Look, we got Facebook Live here. That's what we do here, and it encourages people to listen more on the radio and different ways that you can participate. So I don't know what the thought process is there. Have we gotten to the ground yet? Has a decision been made and it's final about IIAA-G in 2019, 2020?
You know what I do here? And this is this is just rumblings. I don't even remember where I heard this from, but I heard it in passing how maybe the IIAA-G is, I think, going to, and don't quote me on this or anything. I'm being a bad reporter because I'm trying to remember it.
Hey, listen, I will say things that come to me in my dreams, I'll put on the air as news.
But I heard something about how maybe the IIAA-G is going to tell DOE, hey, look, you're either in with this all year or you're out starting at the beginning. We're not doing any of this, first 2 quarter stuff and then letting you bounce halfway through the year. And I don't really know what that means, saying that the IIAA-G is telling that to DOE, because I thought the IIAA-G. Yeah, I know, but but that's DOE's people in the IIAA-G. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. It's strange. It's going to be really strange.
There are people. I'm sure that there are people inside DOE that look at this, as you say, that are also part of the IIAA-G, that are looking at this, going, "This is going to be a train wreck." And so we're either in or we're out. We're not going to be doing this halfway pregnant thing.
Like I think the president of IIAA-G is Randy Kakigi, the wrestling coach from Sanchez. Yeah. Sorry if I got your name wrong there, Coach. But yeah, so he works at Sanchez. He's the president of IIAA-G. And anyway, it's going to get strange, but that's what I heard. So we'll see. But I heard that maybe IIAA-G will straight tell DOE, hey, look, you're either in with us all year or you're out starting at the beginning of the year. We're not going to let you walk halfway through.
No, and I agree with that completely. I think that's the smart move. It forces the issue and forces, I think, smarter thinking to come to the fore.
Y'all wanted
a lot faster. Faster.
This is what y'all wanted, so here.
Exactly. So
the fact of the matter is that if DOE does not already have a comprehensive plan on paper to forward their athletic program now, they need to just forget it because it's not something you can just go, okay, well, we're not part of the IIAAG anymore. What do we do now?
Yeah,
everything else is done that way here.
So in leadership in the business community, we say push your people over the cliff, but teach them how to build their parachute on the way down, right? So that's what, and I think that's what the theory here is with these guys is fine. You want to do this, then you do it now, but you better figure out your own salvation.
Yeah,
because it ain't going to be us. We're not going to give you 6 months to get rid of it. It's like it's like telling your girlfriend, I don't really like you anymore, but I don't want to break up with you right now. So in 6 months, I'm going to break up with you and then start dating the prettier girl, if that's okay with you. But the crazy thing is, and I think Blake and I both know people like that, where their girls are going to go, okay.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what DOE is looking at the IIAAG is they'll go, oh, you guys will be fine with this.
Yeah.
We'll break up eventually.
You need us. So why wouldn't you want our teams in your league?
Keep holding my hand, keip kissing me in public. It'll be nice. 8:27 in the morning. You know, when I say things like that, do people wonder what's going on in my personal life? It's possible, right? Anyway, it's 8:28 in the morning. Mark Colby's actually listening to the broadcast right now, watching us on Facebook Live. So, Mark, congratulations! I'm glad that you're back in the GMIL. I wish that they'd look the other way on the Facebook thing. Facebook Live and video on digital is the future in the social media, and anybody that isn't letting you do that is stuck in the past. So we've got some stats on the games right now. Next game going to be tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Royals versus the Expos.
Yeah, and it's playoff time, too. So I believe this is best of 3 series, right, Mike? They've been playing best of 3 series in this first round of playoffs. Yeah, so that will be, and that's why it says game 1 there. So Royals versus Expos, game 1. Meanwhile, yesterday evening, last night, 10-0. The Rays win via 10-run rule, and they sweep the series 2-0 as they get big contributions from Kyle Kirkendall on the mound. He throws 7 strikeouts, and it's enough. The Red Hawks cannot find an answer for the strong pitching, and they end their season. 10-0. And so the Royals, Expos, like you said, game 1 tonight. The Rays will move on, and the Red Hawks will go home.
Roger on all of that stuff. And so who's still in last place? The Rooks?
I think the Rooks, yeah. They still haven't.
They didn't win any games in the regular season.
Still not. That elusive one game.
Yeah. They came close.
Yeah.
They came close that one game. They were up big, and then it collapsed on them.
We were also, and I was also talking, so it seems I've got a little bit of an update on my track and field news. Team Guam heading to, 14 hours ago, Team Guam heading to Townsville, Australia to compete in the Oceania Area Track and Field Championship. I see Emma Sheedy, I see Regine Tagati. So, like you said, you see a lot of athletes traveling.
I think maybe that's where because they weren't hanging around Terminal 2 or Gate 2. I saw them walking towards the Mabuhay Lounge, and that's where I lost.
That look
guys.
like them? All in the red shirts. Some of them. Yeah. Either way, so we got athletes all over the place, and like I said, they're all kind of steamrolling towards the Pacific Games, which I believe the counter has us at 13 days away. So still a couple weeks before all of our teams head out to Samoa. And I think because it's 2 weeks long, I think some of them won't even go until like a week into the games, you know?
So you know what's a good movie? I killed some time in the PI by watching movies.
Yeah?
Yes, because they do movie theater. Oh, my God, the way they do. Okay, so if for no other reason, you go stay over at Maxim's at Resorts World, right? So you go up to the mall, and there's a movie theater in the mall. Okay? Nothing crazy, right? I mean, that happens all over. We got movie theaters in the mall. And so I'm watching Men in Black, and I have the opportunity to watch the Men in Black in the VIP section. And the VIP section, they've got these huge chairs that like the airplane, right? I mean, you can lay down flat in
like
these
loungers.
Chairs. Yeah, and you got a butler. There's a guy. So you can say, I'm out of popcorn, and the guy will bring you popcorn.
How much extra is the ticket?
I don't know. It's in pesos, and I didn't bother making the. It might have been 1,000 peso a seat, right?
That's still pretty good.
Yeah,
right. That's not bad.
For VIP.
For VIP.
And an attendant.
And, this is the best part.
Yeah.
This is the best part. They have beer.
I was going to say beer.
I'm watching Men in... Yes, I'm watching Men in Black in basically a lay-down chair, and the only thing I was missing was a blanket, for heaven's sakes, maybe next time. And with Stella Artois.
Wow.
I
Draft or bottle?
It was in the bottle.
Well, nice.
Nice.
Because, you know, the draft, you get, you jostle it around, maybe spill it, but the bottle, it's good.
It's right there, a little cup holder.
So, see, I think they're combating people not wanting to go to the thing, like, oh, why, it's more comfortable at home, and I got Netflix. No, not anymore.
They're making it so you are just as comfortable at home.
Wow.
And Men in, you know what, I've seen a couple of reviews of Men in Black where they've panned it. Don't pay any attention. It's a fine story.
It's a good.
It's a fine story. You'll like the characters. Look, it ain't Will Smith and Robin Williams. It's not that. They're different characters. It's still the Men in Black. It's just that there's different characters. Special effects were good. I thought the script was good, and the characters in it were, you know, I wouldn't mind watching them in another Men in Black show.
Did you feel like you were watching Thor as a Man in Black, or did you get past, like, is he good enough to shake off the Thor?
I didn't watch. I'd never seen Thor, so I wasn't, you know, wasn't one of those things where I was stuck in that. Now, another movie that I watched, in fact, just a couple of days ago, not quite VIP section, but and this one was at the movie theaters over at Greenbelt, which are very, very nice. And they've got an auditorium there where, you know, you can do the same thing, pick out your seats, reclining seats, and all that. They just no butler and beer. But Rocket Man.
Oh, the Elton John.
The Elton John biopic, yes. It's worth watching.
Is it real? I've heard good things.
Yes, it is. Yes,
I've heard really good things.
Now, there are going to be people freak out because there's this, you know, almost gay sex scene in there, and there's boy kissing boy and stuff like that. And you know what? It's 2019. Get over it. Because guess what? Elton John's gay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard.
Always has been.
We knew it in the 70s, so we kind of know it now. So there's that. But it was if you love Elton John and you've been, you know, a fan of his for as long as I have, then it's definitely worth watching.
Did Crocodile Rock make it to the movie?
Crocodile Rock is in it.
Good. What about the Donald Duck suit? Did he wear the Donald Duck suit?
No, the L.A. the one where the baseball uniform. They have that. The guy that plays him does an excellent job. The storytelling is great, and the music. They did the music in such a way as to discourage people from singing along, which I was worried about, because I was worried I was going to go to this movie and they'd be like, "Here's the scene, here's the song," and everybody's going to sing to Crocodile Rock, and it'll just annoy the hell out of you. But like I said, they retreated all of the songs, so it's got more of a almost a Broadway feel. So you can't get in and start singing along to the tracks.
And kind of like with my Thor question, I know Rob Stark from Game of Thrones is in this movie. Did you notice Rob Stark as Rob Stark? Like, could you get past the fact that it's Rob Stark?
He was in the movie.
Well, okay, I guess so. That answers my question. There you go. Taron Egerton, by the way, that's the guy who plays Elton John.
Yeah,
I know him. Like, he does all the singing in the movie, his own singing, and I know that he's good at it because there's a movie called Sing for kids. You know, where all they're animals. Yeah, and he plays. If you've ever seen that movie, he plays the gorilla, the Australian singing gorilla. That's really good. The same guy.
No clue. Amazing, amazing.
Kids,
if you get a chance, go see the movie and enjoy it for whatever it's worth. And if you can, if you can, go see it in the Philippines where they have chairs that will make you lie down. It's 8:35 in the morning. That's all the time that we got to pretend to talk about sports. Maybe if things get a little slow, I might go over some of the other things that I think are interesting on social, not necessarily social media, but on the digital sites. Dude, there's some crazy stuff working on Netflix these days. Yeah, and
I've been doing a lot of Hulu lately. Hulu's adding some good stuff.
Letterkenny.
Yeah.
Have you got sucked into Letterkenny yet?
Not yet, but it's on my radar. Been watching old Bond on Hulu.
Oh, nice. All right, 8:35. Got headlines for the Guam Daily Post coming up next.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Somebody drop off Pugwa here at the radio station. Well, how about that? 888-8255-888-TALK is the phone number around here. Kevin Kerrigan might still be covering the press conference that was supposed to take place at 8 o'clock this morning at the legislature, talking about the tree and the halt. So I am going to take care of the news here for you, brought to you by the Guam Daily Post. Supporters of a bill that would ban vaping in public places turned out at the legislature last week to testify in support of Bill 138, which would expand the scope of the Natasha Protection Act of 2005 to include e-cigarette. Guam Youth Congress Rep. DeMarco Kineni commended Senator Amanda Shelton for introducing Bill 138. He said vaping, quote, is an invitation to youth to smoke. Genevieve Leon Garrett said the range of inhalants used in e-cigarettes compromises the quality of air for others. Natasha was Garrett's daughter, the namesake of the Natasha Protection Act, which limits smoking in public places. Guam Power Authority has taken notice of the recent drop in fuel prices, but that doesn't mean they're going to lower the fuel surcharge. Utilities already decided to maintain the fuel surcharge at about 15.4 cents a kilowatt hour through January. While gas prices have fallen, GPA says their long-range price projections have not necessarily changed. GPA says the recent downward trend may reverse if OPEC countries and other non-OPEC oil producers extend their production cuts in the second half of the year. And finally, the Department of Administration is mailing out 1,300 or so tax refund checks today, totaling $4.3 million. Refund checks cover error-free returns filed on or before February the 5th. At this rate, how long will it take to get them towards April the 15th? I don't know. Taxpayers who have debts with the government of Guam will have part or all of their refunds garnished, just FYI. For these stories and plenty more, log on to postguam.com or grab a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. iConnect time is 8:38 in the morning. iConnect's got some great plans on internet and mobile. You want to know more? 888-8888.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training.
Hi, I'm Jerry Roberts, and every day on The Ray Gibson Show, I get to comment on the incredibly diverse, fun, challenging, sometimes frustrating, often exciting, but always interesting world of work. I hope you'll be there with us.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point at guamtraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts, brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank on 93.3 The Point.
Sorry, I'm just yelling because, you know, Ray, energy, enthusiasm for the job. Is there traffic out there? Most of the intersections are slower now than usual. Might see a little bit of traffic snag over on, let me see, where's this coming from? Waiseng Song onto Marine Corps Drive, Route 3 onto Marine Corps Drive. Traffic in both directions over at the Jolly Bee intersection, what do I call it, Chicken Joy intersection. Is moving slow. And you know what I found out? Just a quick trip to Manila, which is in the Philippines, is virtually every intersection there is a Chicken Joy intersection. You know, about every 20 feet on the way to the airport, there is a Chicken Joy. Some of them open 24 hours a day.
There's either one of those, a McDonald's, or a KFC.
Or Starbucks. They got Starbucks all over the place as well. Over at the place. Route 10 Alpha Marine by the airport over at that intersection. In between Home Depot and the airport, that's snagging up in both directions down there. Hold on, let me just quick and see if there's anything major in the downtown Agutnia area. No, looks like everybody's made it to work over at Navy Hospital. And if you're trying to get into Big Navy this morning, just take some extra time because there's already a line of traffic at the passing inspection. 20 away from 9 o'clock, the Ray Gibson Show continues.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
It's not bleeding red on the traffic gizmo this morning, but I am looking at a little bit of southbound traffic, Marine Corps Drive in the Petey area. And you might have seen this last week, but it looks like the work has begun. You're hereby advised that on June 18 through August of this year, if you are traveling on Marine Corps Drive, Route 1, Polaris Point intersection, southbound to Naval Base Main Gate, expect intermittent shoulder work. And I'm looking at the traffic gizmo, and it looks like traffic slowing down on Marine Corps Drive in exactly that spot there. Once you get past the intersection, should be fine. They're doing some sewer line work there and also a search for unexploded ordnance. UXOs, as it were, in that area. So watch out for that traffic and just be aware that there could be a reason to slow down. In 20 minutes, 9 o'clock in the morning, something like that. Ray Gibson Show goes until 10, of course, so if there's something you want to yak about, you've got the phone numbers, 888-825-5888-TALK. Give me, Michael Knight, do me a favor. Yes, no, do it for me. I'm older. I'm your elder. He's shaking his head going, what now?
But I'm meaner.
And that is true. Find Kevin Kerrigan, and let's see if we can get... Because he thought he was just going to leave at 7:30, and
Shall
that's it.
I
I'm done
send the
for the
drone?
day. Send the drone. We got a runner. But see if you can dig out Kevin. Find out if he can give me just a quick report on what happened over at the legislature with the press conference on the measure, and how many of the senators have decided to walk it back. I've got I think if I can find the story here in the massive paperwork that I've got. There it is. Who signed off? Originally initialed on the resolution over at the legislature to halt, if you will, the construction. Obviously, Telena. Then you've got Therese Terlai, Sabina Perez, Amanda Shelton, Kelly Marsh, Clint Rigel, Tina Rose Munya Barnes, Tello Taitagui, Will Castro, and Luis Munya. And those about 9 people have showed initial support for this resolution. You know, because the tree. But somebody got to him and said, yeah, you might want to do that. But by the way, this will have an impact on the livelihoods of X number of locals that are involved in this. And X number of businesses that are likewise involved in this construction out there. And unless you are willing to answer them and tell them that the plans for the construction, the cultural sites, the archaeological sites, the flora and the fauna have not been seen to appropriately by the actual federal government, unless you're comfortable telling them that you've got a better plan or that you're smarter, then maybe you might want to take your names off this. So I'm kind of curious as to how many of these guys said, oh, yeah, that's an interesting point you bring up there. What'd he say? What? What?
They haven't started yet.
What?
Yeah, they evidently had some more things that they wanted to iron out. And so they're all meeting now to try to figure out how to iron that out before they actually have the press conference, which is what happens when you put the cart ahead of the horse.
Right. So we got the whole resolution. Have you seen it? You might be able to get a copy of it from the Guam Daily Post. We've got this is like version, I don't know, it's like 18 or something like this. You can tell. You take a look at the thing, and I didn't print it out in color. I printed it out in black because I'm managing partner of the company, for heaven's sakes. So it's one thing I might not even read the whole thing, but this will show you the version history of it and all of the changes that have been made relative to respectfully requesting. What was originally written down was relative to calling for Governor Lou Leon Guerrero to halt construction. Now it's respectfully requesting that Governor Lou Leon Guerrero seek a temporary pause to construction and activities related to the U.S. Department. So they've softened up the tone, and like I said, I'm wondering how much of the softening up might actually be reduction and redaction of what is 16 pages of resolution material here for you. And again, it's one of those eye rolls that we've got to put up with every once in a while when somebody over at the legislature or a group of people over at the legislature thinks it's fashionable to be critical of a process that was discussed while some of these people were still in high school. So I don't know. We'll see how all of that plays out. At any rate, the other big story, Public Safety Oversight Chair Jose Turlay has reaffirmed his confidence in Department of Corrections Director Sam Brennan after a mental health evaluation report was released. Now, I don't necessarily have a problem with people like Sam, who I know is probably the evenest of keeled persons that I've had the pleasure of knowing in all of my adult life. And I've known her and think that she is beyond capable of any position that we want to give her in the government of Guam. But psychologist Dr. Andrea Lighthizer says, well, you know, she's got a couple of things we could fix. Interpersonal effectiveness training. Remind me to ask Jerry Roberts just what the heck that means. Interpersonal effectiveness training. Didn't that sound like something that we could all use from time to time? Right? To just... Do you know how much it annoys people when you speak? You know, just one of those. Just think about what you're going to say before you actually say it with some people. And maybe, you know, you get better results. Maybe that's what this is over at the place. But this little riffette here is not going to be a conversation about whether or not Sam Brennan is capable of leading things over at the Department of Corrections. And let me just say, you know, after observing things over at the Department of Corrections, I don't think it could possibly get any worse than, you know, what other people have left the place in a state of. You know, considering the overcrowding, the lack of resources at the Department of Corrections, frankly, it's a miracle that we've got a functioning Department of Corrections. At any rate, it's not that. The rift doesn't come from the fact that, that there might be a blemish on the report that Andrea put together. The riff here is that we are capable of the examination of individuals that are up for nomination in a couple of critical positions, like the Department of Corrections, like the Guam Police Department. But we don't have the same thing for people that are going before the parole board. How is... this is another question about priorities, right, guys? How is it possible that we've got the resources, we are capable of finding somebody to do evaluations on the chief of police and the chief of the Department of Corrections, but we couldn't find somebody to review the case of a baby rapist? How? And they let him out. They knew that they didn't have the psych eval on the guy. They know that it's tough to get psych evals. How is it possible? While these guys are yakking about releasing people with all kinds of serious mental conditions from prison, we don't have the people to do the evals on these guys, but we've got them. We're capable of saying, go and shrink Sam Brennan's head. Go inside Ignacio's head and let's see what's in there. And I'm shaking my head again and scratching it, going, this doesn't make any sense to me. We don't have the people to look after the parole board and their needs to ensure that there are guys that they're letting out of prison that are capable of walking the walk. But, you know, when it comes to political appointees, we don't seem to have a shortage of that. Just, I don't know, it's in my head, right? And then there is a point that is brought up by Jerry Roberts and others this morning when we were talking about this story is, wait a second, we're doing psychic evals on people that are running the Department of Corrections, the police department, et cetera, et cetera. Who's doing psychic evals on the people over at the legislature? Would it not surprise you to find maybe if Andrea Lighthizer had the time to go through 15 heads over at the legislature, how many other people she would come up with and say, yeah, so-and-so might not do well under stressful situations. How many people in the 35th Guam legislature, I mean, really think about it, could use, as she said, interpersonal effectiveness training over at the legislature? I know, it's sad. We don't get a chance. Hi, Lola. Nice to see you there. We don't necessarily get a chance to have these evaluations conducted on the folks over at the legislature, but we should, shouldn't we? I know. Here's the problem: it's not in the Organic Act. is the thing. I mean, there's certain things that we got to live by, and the Organic Act is one of them. And unfortunately, the Organic Act doesn't say anything about, if you want to run for senator, you got to be over 25 years of age, you got to live on Guam for 5 years, and you must not be a nut job. I'd like to be able to put something like that into the Organic Act, but, that's act of Congress. Who's got the time? Speaking of acts of Congress, what is all of this flap? Have you been paying attention to the back and forth between everybody and Mike Sinicolas? I can hardly wait to hear what Bob Klitsky's got to say about it this afternoon. I'm sure he talked about it last week at Infinitum, right? But I'm dying to find out from Bob Klitsky what his thoughts are on Mike Sinicolas versus everybody on this war claims deal, right? You get the war claims nonsense has been going on since the end of the Second World War. We've been trying to get compensation for the victims and the people that actually suffered at the hands of the Japanese. Forced marches, comfort women, slave labor, all of these things, beatings that happened in the Second World War. And here we are on the eve of the 75th anniversary of the liberation of Guam by the United States military. Here we are on the eve of all of this, and there is still fighting going on between Lulian Guerrero, the legislature, Congresswoman Madeline Berdallo, and apparently Uncle Robert Underwood against Mike Sinicolas. And all he's trying to do is fix something that Madeline left unwound when she left Washington.
Mm-hmm. But does anyone really think that the fact that no one has been paid yet is not absolutely something that was calculated by the United States government?
Yeah, well,
they were going to sit on this thing as long as they could, and now the paltry amounts that they're actually giving to people, which 75 years ago, 50 years ago, would have been pretty good amounts of money, it's nothing now. It's nothing. Certainly not reparation for being tortured.
Well, it's at the end of it, it is maybe the last of the insults that are going to be hurled at this generation of Guamanians from back in those days. But it's just for me, it's just almost unforgivable at this point. That as close as we are, and efforts that Mike had put out there to finally, if you're going to finally get served, it might still not be the tastiest thing in the whole wide world, but we're finally going to be able to get something to you eventually going through this process. And then statements that apparently were made by Congresswoman Berdallo and just the idea that there is this last-minute surge of I don't want to call it grandstanding, but maybe an opportunity to take the credit away from Mike. Do I see that right? Am I seeing that correct? That's what it looks like. There's a group of people here that don't want Mike to win.
The whole thing looks to me like it's all.
Never mind what happened before.
Yeah, to me, the whole thing looks like it's all sour grapes over him not signing the unity pledge during the election. Yes,
oh my God!
Absolutely.
Oh my God!
Absolutely.
That cannot be.
They're petty. They're Democrats.
Yeah, grab that thing. 888-8255-888-TALK. I'm trying to figure it out. I mean, it's easy to say, well, we're just we know that there's this problem in the States with the thing from before, and we just want to do what we can because 75th liberation and the carnival is not as much fun as we wanted it to be or whatever. And so now we're going to say we'll pay them out of our own resources here, and then we'll get recompensed by the federal government. And you got Mike over there saying, no, it doesn't quite. It's not going to work the way you think it's going to work. And then he had actual people from Washington, D.C. say it's not going to work the way you think it's going to work. And so just let us do what it is that we've got to do around here. Is it possible that there could be? And I don't know. I'm not deep into the Democratic Party of Guam, but I do remember that there was some silliness going on because Mike didn't sign the Unity Pledge. Daryl, good morning.
Good morning, Ray. Welcome back.
Thank you very, very much for sitting in a chair for me. I really appreciate it, being able to take the time to be able to get to a trade show and do a medical checkup. And by the way, everything is good. I didn't break my liver yet. So.
Oh, happy to hear.
Tell me.
I am. There's something that keeps rolling around in my head, and maybe it's just the way I think. But it has to be said that after, and I tried to kind of work this into a conversation with Tina, but on air. But she didn't kind of really want to go there. And this is the thing that I keep thinking about. If our local leaders are willing to use local revenues to compensate war victims, then why are we accepting the conditions that have been put on by the Congress? Why are they not talking about compensating all of the descendants of the survivors of the war? You know, I mean, this thing could turn into a $200 million payout.
Oh.
Political payout from the government of Guam for an electioneering, you know.
Lola Cola, I hear you. Oh, but stop.
Why didn't we do this 30 years ago if we had the political will to do this? And it was Tina Tina and Lou that took this scheme up, competing with each other, trying to get credit, get some political profile on this issue, when all they needed to do was leave well enough alone, and they didn't. And now I'm expecting people who you know, watched their loved ones, their parents, you know, go to their graves, bitching and moaning about the lack of progress by our leaders. I'm expecting those sons and daughters to get in the faces of Tina and Lou and go, "Hey, if you can do this, then do it."
Yeah, well, wait a second, because
done it 30 years ago.
Now, this could be a big payday for me and my brother and sisters. My mother is a survivor of the Second World War, and she died a couple of years ago, and she died without ever receiving any kind of compensation. She is not. She was actually born during just before the war, and baby. For sure, didn't have to do any of the slave labor, the forced marches and stuff, but she, you know, was a victim of the occupation of Guam by the Japanese. That would put Shelley and Dave and Mana and I in the same boat of descendants as you speak of.
Yep, my mom was born in 1927. She was 17 years old in 1944. She was a nanny for a Japanese civil servant who brought his family down, and she was beaten by the police in Agana, you know, with this Saipanese translator and a whole 9 yards.
Oh yeah. Well, every family's got stories similar to those. You know, my great grandfather was forced to manage the rice fields back in the Second World War. I mean, so everybody's got some perch. I'm just saying that, you know, I wouldn't be asking for a whole lot of money. Just pay off my credit card bills. I'd be happy.
If we're not going to have the feds do it,
right? No, I hear you. So if we don't have to, if we don't have to deal with the deal that was put together by Madeline and then at the time McCain, then we ought to be able to, you know, write our own checks if we're going to be doing our own repayments. No, I think you're absolutely right.
Yes, sir. That's the next shoe to drop. That's the news for next week.
Oh, you think? You're right, though. That would be a big. I don't know if we can borrow quite that much money. You're talking about Lola Cola scale recompense here, huh?
And we're talking about Democrats, and we're talking about 10 women in the legislature, and we're talking about all that. You know, I mean, you know, I'm familiar with this feel-good stuff. You know?
My God!
Never mind what it costs.
Never mind the crime wave. Never mind the meth problem. Let's take care of this ourselves, dude. I got to run. I got the news coming up. You know how that feels. So I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Thanks, Daryl. We're KUSG. I got you. Stand by now for Fox News.
Slapping more sanctions on Iran. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News. The Trump administration imposing what the president calls major retaliatory sanctions tomorrow. Payback, he says, because Iran shot down a U.S. drone. President Trump talked about the airstrike he called off and what comes next.
President Trump on NBC's Meet the Press said the planned strike would not have been a proportionate response. But he is clear on the endgame with Iran.
Here's what I want. Anything that gets you to the result, they cannot have a nuclear weapon.
President Trump says he believes Iran wants to negotiate, but warns that provocative acts will test his patience.
I'm not looking for war. And if there is, it'll be obliteration like you've never seen before.
The president says he wants a deal, whether it's just with Iran or one that includes the Russians, Chinese, and other nations.
Fox's Gernal Scott. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo now headed to Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates to talk Iran's strategy, making sure our allies are on the same page. National Security Advisor John Bolton is in Israel. Same reason. The president taking to Twitter today, explaining why he called off the plans to round up migrant families for deportation. Fox's Christina Coleman reads his tweet.
I want to give the Democrats every last chance to quickly negotiate simple changes to asylum and loopholes. This will fix the southern border, together with the help that Mexico is now giving us. Probably won't happen, but worth a try. 2 weeks and big deportation begins.
The raid's postponed to protect federal agents after news leaked to reporters. That's a town hall in South Bend, Indiana, where Pete Buttigieg had to face some angry constituents concerned about a fatal police shooting in their city 1 week ago today. This is Fox News.
This is Ronnie. Ronnie is about to break his piggy bank.
Come on, piggy bank.
Ronnie wants to upgrade his smartphone.
And this piggy's gonna help me.
If Ronnie had signed up for GTA's handset payment option, he could have selected a new smartphone with an affordable monthly plan.
I could have what?
Exactly. Sign up for HBO at GTA and don't break the bank.
I'm sorry, piggy bank.
Terms and conditions apply. GTA, we start with you.
We know too well the inconvenience of not having power after a storm. You worry about food in the freezer going bad. Nights get hot. It's hard finding comfort when going to sleep. These are realities. But with solar and battery storage from Micronesia Renewable Energy, these realities can be a thing of the past. The solar works during the day and the batteries power your home at night. Call 632-2613 to see how solar plus battery storage can make life a little more convenient. MRE, the smarter choice.
Again, lower prices at the pump.
Gasoline prices continued falling. This time it's been an 11-cent drop over 2 weeks to a current average of $2.73.
Industry analyst Trilby Lundberg, you don't want to mention falling and this story. We can see the wire from our newsroom window about 10 stories up from where we are. 1 hour from now, 2 siblings. They'll take their first steps across it, not a net in sight.
Going to Times Square is a bucket list item for a lot of people. But tightrope walker Nick Walinda's lifelong dream in Times Square is a little different from the rest. Tonight, he'll walk a 1,300-foot cable 25 stories above Times Square without a safety net. That's 5 city blocks downhill. And to make it more interesting, his sister will start at the other end, walking uphill. They'll meet in the middle, change places, and continue on walking. You'll be able to watch it live at 8 o'clock Eastern on ABC. In New York City, Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
What did people want to see at the movies this weekend?
They're not just playing around with the Toy Story series. Toy Story 4 pulled in $118 million this weekend, the 4th highest animated film opening ever.
On my way, Woody! To infinity and beyond!
But the debut of the Pixar movie was still below expectations. An opening in the range of $140 to $150 million was expected, and there are continuing concerns about a rocky summer movie season. The number 2 film, Orion Pictures' horror remake Child's Play, also opened below expectations with $14.1 million. Rounding out the top 5, number 3, Aladdin at $12.2 million. 4th place, Men in Black International with $10.8 million. And number 5, Secret Life of Pets 2 at $10.3 million in ticket sales.
Fox's Sal Giangrasso, the winner at Sonoma today on Fox Sports 1.
Around the final corner to the checkered flag, Martin Truex Jr.
I'm Jay Metzler. This is Fox News.
Regardless of your age, your eye health may be at significant risk from diabetes, cataracts, glaucoma, and retina problems. A comprehensive eye health exam is key to maintaining your precious gift of sight. Contact Island Eye Specialists to schedule an appointment today. That's 637-2020 or online at islandeyeguam.com. We accept Stay Well, Take Care, Calvo Select Care, and Net Care Health Insurance. Island Eye Specialists. We are your eye doctor.
When your family needs medical care, how often do you find the need to visit multiple clinics? When a child has a serious ailment, do you find yourself meeting a medical provider only to learn you must go somewhere else for testing? At the FHP Health Center, you can find multiple specialties and testing services under one roof. And if your family needs urgent care, FHP is there for you with convenient weekday, evening, and weekend hours. Voted the island's best clinic and Pika's best 2 years in a row. FHP, our island, your clinic. Learn more at fhpguam.com.
Hey, portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by my pals over at Cold Stone Creamery. You know, you got something big coming up. Maybe you got somebody getting out of jail or something like that. You want to, commemorate that moment. They've got some great cakes there. They've got the tall, dark or ice cream cake, and they've got one that's like loaded with Oreos. You really got to try. They're making them fresh for you every day. Lots of different flavors at Cold Stone Creamery. You'll also find the program is brought to you by American President Lines. They're shipping the future Micronesia renewable energy, and they got incredible deals on solar panels and things like that. But the good news is we now can put a battery system on your house as well. 632-2613 gets you a free consultation. And if you're in the need of a new car, how about performance days over at Cars Plus? Sexy Chargers, sporty Challengers. Moms and dads are going to love the Grand Caravan. If you need to get some SUV love in, try the Durango SXT. Financing as low as 1.99% APR at Cars Plus in Mighty.
The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. Morning talk that matters.
Nice. Phil Schroggy's online watching the program. Word from Cousin Ted up the ranch across the street. He says the old Wilson homes, Anderson South, soon to be developed into training zone from Route 15 to Route 1. Actually, it seems to me, wasn't that always used kind of as a training zone for some of the urban special tactics and strategies that some of these military use? Always thought it was. Mingo with an interesting suggestion. Now, we were talking about keeping the parks clean. And Senator Jim Moylan's got Bill 58 out there that would create a public-private partnership-y kind of thing. At any rate, Mingo's talking about something that actually you could probably do right now or incorporate into that legislation. Contracts to clean the parks should have companies that can utilize prison labor. So it gives the prisoners a skill. Monies earned can be put towards victims' compensation, and the same company can receive persons who are court-ordered to do community service. So that would be part of it. I'm not sure about the community service part, though. I recall having conversations with mayors in the past. And I said, what about this free labor opportunity that you might be able to get? So you get these guys, right, the vagrants or somebody that's busted by the cops for going out and mooching money over at the intersections. And you go, okay, well, let's arrest them. Let's give them to the mayors and have the mayors put these guys to work. Apparently, that's more trouble than it's worth because these people, if they had a work ethic, they'd already be at work. If they knew what it takes to be on the job and to be able to take whatever meager skills that you have and bend them to some kind of productivity, they would already be doing it. But they make more money standing on the side of the corner. So my understanding is the guys over in the mayor's offices are like, yeah, you find someplace else to put these guys because I don't want them around here. That's the long and short of that. So we'll see. We'll see. Hey, the Guam Visitors Bureau has got a program. I want to say they started it last month, or earlier this month, and I just haven't had a chance to talk with Josh Tekenko about it. He's on the line right now, so he can give me the explains on Insta Guam.
Hey, half a day, Ray. Good
Dude,
morning.
Where you been?
I went to Asia and Charlie's wedding.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, Asia got married in
Oh, that you? Well, yeah, I did. Yeah, so apparently, yeah. But congratulations to both of those guys.
Yeah.
Was the wedding as fast as those guys can run?
Oh yeah, like it was totally their style. It was a nice. We went on a sailboat. It was actually the sailboat that was in Wedding Crashers too, and that was like one day, and then they had it at a outside, outdoors. It's very nature. It was like one of the quickest weddings I've been to, but they definitely celebrated their style, and it was just nice to see like Asia's family again, and Charlie.
Oh yeah, Larry and his mom are great people. Yeah, I'm sure that was nice. Anyway, so now I thought I saw a couple of pictures on the Facebooks and the Instagrams and things like that, which will lead me into the next conversation. You guys are up to something over at GVB with Insta Guam. How does that work? Can I win something? Is there?
Oh yeah, I think you're talking about the InstaSpot program, right?
Yeah, InstaSpot.
Yeah, because Insta Guam has been our theme the last couple years that we've been promoting out. But InstaSpot is actually it's another program, and it's actually embedded within the Shop Guam app. So if you guys haven't downloaded it yet, I highly recommend you do. It's free, and so basically the InstaSpot program launched in February, and it just focuses more on the user-generated content. So it really promotes local artwork and attractions just around the island. So let's say we have a particular business that has a great mural on its wall, and it has all these different local iconic themes, and it's just a really great photo op. No matter whoever goes there, a local resident or a visitor, they want to take a picture of it. We want to feature that. And then we also work with the business to say, hey, as a way to help promote your business, why don't you create an offer so that if someone is taking a picture of it and they present it to you and they post it on their social media, you can give them some discount, some reward, and they're like, okay, let's do it. It's free. So basically, we worked with a bunch of different businesses so far. We have 67 InstaSpot locations that are featured within the Shop Guam app.
Yeah.
So there's actually a section there that you can click on. This is InstaSpot. For example, if you take a picture at the Guam Museum, they'll give you 20% off free admission. If you take a picture at another coffee shop, you get a free drink as a result of showing it to them. So yeah, it's just encouraging local businesses and really just promoting our iconic spots. We have so many murals that are out there now. We have so many different places that people have fixed up and people want to see and post on their social media.
I like the one over at Wild Bill's. Wild Bill's got a nice one. It's right there. And Wild Bill's, Cap Watkins?
Oh, okay. Yes.
Or Hospital Road. Sorry. It's the old Hospital Road.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
See, that would be cool because then you can get, because they've already got like free poo-poos and stuff, but maybe like a buy one, get one free thing on Budweiser.
Exactly. And
yes.
it's completely up to the business, however they want to promote themselves and reward their customers or the people that are taking photos. But it's just really just a great way to network and enjoy and support the work of local and visiting artists, and then sharing that on social media and then the local businesses themselves.
So, Joshua, so maybe also encouraging businesses to do more than just a flat coat of white paint on the outside of the building.
Right. It's basically inspiring them to be more creative, and having the businesses, create hashtags and also hashtagging Instagram on there, so that way when you pick up the hashtag feed on your Instagram, it pulls up and you can see it right there.
Yeah, you'll be able to see all of the different businesses that are participating in this. So you go and you take your selfie in front of it, and then you go inside and say, okay, what's my discount? Because I've just uploaded it and I just hashtagged InstaSpot.
InstaSpot and Instagram, and then it should pull up with all the hashtags.
Gotcha.
There. And all we're asking is for the business to create an offer that's valid or honored through September 30th of this year, and then it'll go into the Shop Guam app, which encourages people to look at all the different offers that are available too, in different categories. So just another way to help with the different perks and benefits for Shop Guam, and also incredible deals that are here on island. So
I like it. Now, a couple of other things while I got you on the line. 4th of July or around there is going to be the Glock party. Sorry, block party.
Yes, it's the return of the 7th annual Guam Barbecue Block Party. It'll be 4th of July weekend, so July 6th is the date, 5:30 to 10 p.m. And then we're teaming up with the Micronesian Chefs Association again for the barbecue competition. We have We have different competitors this year. I'll name some of them: Osu Smokehouse, Dusatani, Guam Community College, Mescala, Outrigger. Team Duknus is back again, Guam Barbecue Company. And then Sea Girl is also one of the competitors. So they're going to be competing for the title of Grill Master. We're going to be having like different food and drink vendors and different activities. There'll be muscle cars and bike show there. The 721st Army Band for the Guam National Guard will be there. We have local entertainment and off-island entertainment that will be present. 4 for 4, Fat Tofu, and I also believe the singer from Singapore, his name's Evan De Silva, will be there. There's free transportation, so if you're worried about parking, we're
Dude, I just park here at the radio station and walk down.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Now the only problem with that is eventually after eating and drinking and all the fun is I have to walk back up that hill.
That's true.
So that in my mind is the tricky part, but it's always worth it when you get down there. Is it going to do the hot dog eating contest again?
I think we're still trying to confirm that with the team, but I know the hot dog eating contest was a huge draw for different people the last couple of years. So.
Well, I'm trying to remember the times where I have actually stood in front of a stage at that and watching the Mount Carmel Stage Band and the hot dog eating contest were worth standing in front of the stage for.
Yes, yeah, there were so many people just crowding around that stage, and yeah, it's definitely a sight to see.
Now the main numbers are out, correct?
Yes, the main numbers are out. We just released it last week, Friday, and it broke a 22-year-old record. We welcomed over 120,000 visitors to Guam during Tourism Month. So that was really awesome. The last record that had been broken was back in 1997. So that was a pretty cool feat to accomplish.
And everybody was really excited about the lead up into Golden Week and the fact that there were no assaults on Japanese tourists during Golden Week. I remember being amused by that story. 9:17 in the morning. Now just a concern, and I don't know if you're watching on Facebook Live right now, but if you were, you'd be able to see a video that was sent to me last night on Facebook. By Arlene Evangelista, and she was down just over the weekend at the Inarahan Pool, and it is in a sorry state. Just trash everywhere down there, and there are people in the footage, but there aren't locals. These are visitors from Guam, and unfortunately, they're seeing the same things that Pam was shooting. And you've got these spots just trash everywhere. And nobody around to clean it up. What's GVB been up to these days to try to police up the trash in a lot of these park areas? I recognize, frankly, it's not GVB's problem, but I know that you've got to, if DPR is incapable or impotent, then you've got to bend over and start picking stuff up.
Right. Yeah, GVB has been taking a very active role with trying to get the parks up to par. Especially the restrooms, and helping out Department of Public Parks and Recreation. And so I know that the contract to help them temporarily in cleaning up the restrooms and cleaning Inarahan pools, I think that lasted all the way through May 31st or June 1st. And then from there, Parks and Rec was to take over. And I know that they were just finalizing their contract. I think it was with Guam Cleaning Masters. And then they were just going to take over everything from there. So, man, I'm sorry to hear that the parks.
It's all. I put a post up, and you can take a look at it. I know you follow me, so the post where I said I'm trying to catch up on Guam news, but every story has me rolling my eyes. Can we do over the last election? That's the post to look for. And so get to that, and you'll be able to see the imagery that has been posted up there. But make sure Pilar sees it too, because we can't be inviting people to Guam and asking them to look at our trash.
No, yeah, I totally agree. I think it's been a huge problem for how many years, even before we were like I was in this position, or even in the media.
Right, and you'd think with all the brain power that we have in this town, they'd been able to solve it, but apparently not. So tell her to get to work on it
too. Yeah, it's a deeper seated issue, right? Like you can put Band-Aids on these issues. You can point the fingers at all different government agencies and organizations like GVB and say, fix it, clean it. But it really comes down to island pride too. I mean, there's something wrong that's going on with our island, we don't have a deeper pride in who we are and the places that we promote and our villages that we live in, then we're going to keep pointing fingers at each other, and it's never going to be fixed.
Good point.
So,
Josh, you've heard me, and I've heard you, so let's go take it up another level and see what happens.
All right.
All right, buddy. It's always fun seeing you. Now that you're back, we got to get together, me and you and Rose, Moses.
Absolutely. We need to catch up.
Right on. I'll see you, bud.
Okay. You too. Have a great day.
20 after 9. This is a running buddy of mine, Josh, from over at the Guam Visitors Bureau. Tough spot to be in sometimes where you've got, hey, come to Guam, everybody. And we got the singers and the dancers, and they go off to all these trade shows. And people get on the airplanes, and they come to Guam. And anymore, we've got these Korean tourists that are driving on their own. They have phones, the same as ours, that have got little maps in them, and they put in a thing that says, Inarahan Pool. Except in Korean. And then they press go, and it gives them directions to get all the way down south to where they can see this. And what should be just an idyllic tropical scene should be greeting them, but instead it looks like a dump. And and the crazy thing, maybe the thing that's most disappointing is, you talk about island pride. And among the villages that I think are most proud are the southern villages. So it's kind of surprising that the residents down there in Iran aren't up in arms and haven't demanded more action from their mayor to go out there and clean the place up. And so it is one of those things. And maybe you start thinking about rolling around down there and checking out some of the boys that I know and see if we can apply some jungle common sense on what ought to be a pretty simple process of making sure that people are cleaning up after themselves. 9:22 in the morning, 888-255-888-TALK. Is there more on the playlist to talk about here this morning? Just randomness. Random as the thoughts pop into my head. I was telling you about riding an airplane and watching movies, or was I? I don't. Maybe it was just something in my dreams. I dreamt about talking about being on an airplane and watching movies. Virtually every airline you get into now, depending on which ones it is, there may be a screen in front of you on the chair back in front of you, but more often than not, there is no screen there anymore. It's just the tray. And you say, well, what movie are we watching on the airplane? And the answer is pretty much any movie you want to. Philippine Air has a great online in-air app. And so you go to MyPal, the app on your phone, and pretty soon you're watching movies and that kind of thing. You're listening to online radio or something like that. It's very good service. United has a great service that has replaced the in-air entertainment systems. They used to be able to play games. Remember that little handheld thing? You could swipe a credit card and use that as a phone. Originally, back in the old days, until they realized, no, we want people to shut up on the airplane. I got it when I was landing. Sorry, another aside. So I'm getting in the airplane, and there is this one. If you notice that more and more people are FaceTiming, walking around on their phones. They get these data plans, and rather than use the phone like a phone, they'll do a video chat with somebody. And no, normally that's a great thing, except they're talking loud, and the person on the other end is talking loud on the phone, and so you've got this conversation two ways that you can hear both sides of it, and really you don't care to hear about that conversation. But there they are in the airports and in the lounges, blah, 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 blah. And so you go, it's one of those things where you want them to put headphones on, but, we're all polite. We're not going to do that. You can be rude, but I'm not going to be rude back at you. So I put my headphones on. Thank God. I took these headphones with me. I took these headphones with me because they seal my ear. So even if I'm not actually listening to anything on the phone, I don't have to hear what it is that they are talking about. But yeah, so there, and that's why we don't allow phone calls in the airplane. Because people will fight each other in the airplanes. Would you please shut up? Can you text that? Is there a way that you can do this without making any kind of unnecessary noise in the airplane? But do people do that? No way.
Wait till Google comes out with telepathic typing.
They have And speaking of Google, when you touch down and get into the Manila airport, you can use the airport's Wi-Fi system, or there's Google Free. So for like a half hour or something like that, just long enough to be able to, get online and do a WhatsApp, tell everybody that you made it safely to the airport and we've landed all right. They'll give you just enough bandwidth to be able to do that. And then you walk outside. In fact, at Philippine Air, when they give you the paperwork to the entry documentation, they give you it's a deal with Globe Wireless. So they give you a coupon, and you walk right out the door and turn left at the airport, and there are kiosks from Globe, and they'll give you a free SIM.
Oh, right.
And for 500 pesos, a week's worth of internet in the Philippines. And it was good, and I liked it. So just the FYI, if it's been a while since you've gotten off the airplane in Manila City, that's the way to do that. 9:26 in the morning. But I was talking about just stuff to watch on the plane. And even though, right? Welcome back, Ray. So even though you've got the PAL systems, or you get the United Online thing, and they're wonderful. One of the things that I discovered on the last trip that I was on is, what Netflix allows you to do on the app? You can download movies. Yeah. There's you might not even notice it because you're not looking there, right? But you can go and download the movies that you want to watch. So as an example, there was I'm a huge fan of a Chinese actress named Shu Qi. And there are a bunch of movies that you can see on Netflix. And I found one that I had not seen before called Looking for a Star. And so I downloaded that, and that's what I watched on the airplane. Not what they wanted me to watch, not what they've made a deal with the studios for, but what I wanted to watch. So I watched that a couple of times and really loved it. Nice Chinese romantic comedy, and you'll love foreign movies, because they're not like movies that are coming out of Hollywood where everything is, there's a lesson and there's some moral story about how, you're supposed to be tolerant of everybody and their individual isms, or love the environment, or everybody's going to die, or old white guys are the worst thing that ever happened to the planet, right? So you've got those kinds of finger wagging that goes on in virtually every movie coming out of Hollywood, but they haven't gotten to that yet in foreign films. And so they can concentrate on just entertaining you. Sorry, that was an aside on the aside that was the aside. So I downloaded and watched that movie, and I liked it. And the other one that I watched on the way back, and I didn't finish it. Now, I'm not squeamish, and I can do virtually any kind of horror story. I mean, for heaven's sakes, I can watch the Legislative Channel without cringing and closing my eyes and pulling the sheets over my head. I know for some people that's difficult. You watch, it's 10 minutes in, and certain senators start talking, and you just go, oh, my God, we're doomed. And you just want to pull the blankets up over your eyes.
I do a face plant into the keyboard from boredom.
So, like I said, I'm not squeamish, but I watched a movie I couldn't get to the end of because it scared me. And it is a movie from the Philippines called Aurora.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's the story of a shipwreck off a seaside village, and they weren't able to get all of the corpses off the ship. Ooh. And they were hoping, the rescue teams were hoping that in a storm it would move the ship around and the bodies would come out from wherever they were jammed at. So certain bodies start making it to shore, but they're not really dead. They're still spirits in those decomposing, been in the water for days, weeks, bodies. Anyway, so there's a couple of scenes there where it ain't American style scary. They show you the monster, and it's scary. And there are things, and the worst one is there's the boogeyman is talking to the little girl, and the little girl's not scared. It's it's that weird Shining feel that you get, right? Red Rum. So it's the name of the show is Aurora. If you get a chance, take a look at it. It's on the Netflix, and you can download it, and then you can watch it. The cool thing is you don't have to be on an airplane to watch it too. I mean, you can download it and watch it while you're at work. Many of you are already reaching for your Netflix now. What did he say the name of the movie was? Aurora. It's 9:30, and if you want to test out your systems, check it out with iConnect. They'll download it for you so you can watch it at work. iConnect has got great plans on internet and mobile plans. Find out what they are by calling 888-8888.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Rita Tidegui of Manila, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Ingatan ang iyong tahanan. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Hey, it's Mom. Somebody forgot to thaw the chicken, so meet us at Chili's for 2 for $25. Oh, and congratulate your sister for making the basketball team. She's thrilled. Love you. See you at Chili's.
Enjoy 2 full meal combos for $25. An appetizer, 2 mouth-watering entrees like our crispy chicken breast, smoked barbecue quarter leg, or smoked jalapeno cheddar sausage. Served with corn on the cob and french fries. 2 bold combos for $25. A full-on meal deal available nightly for a limited time. Together, we Chili's.
Mentioned more than once or twice Dog Nova in the past, haven't I? Dog Nova is an animal, a creature come to my house by way of Ismael Velez. And he found a dog in the neighborhood. Mom dog eventually had a litter of puppies. And they're pretty dogs. They come out snow white and little kind of Labrador ears that fold down into a little triangle. So it's just the cutest dog in the world. And so Dog Nova came to live with me and could not get around to being a good inside companion dog, i.e. the dog just would not play with me. Dog spent all of the time underneath the couch, only came out to pee on the floor or poop in the kitchen or something like that. That's the only time the dog ever came out. And so as a result, I said, well, I guess, maybe this is going to be an outside dog. And so come home yesterday from the trip, got my laundry done, put all my clothes away, all of the toothbrushes and toothpaste and soap that I stole from the hotel, stuck that in got a lot of stuff. Every hotel I stayed at, I stole something. But anyway, I put all that stuff away and looked at the dog, and the dog was absolutely filthy. So I got the dog and got the dog shampoo and cleaned her right up. And she loved it. She liked being in the bathtub and getting all soapy and watery and licking the water off me. She absolutely loved it. Got her all dried off and put a little bit of doggy cologne on her, so Dog Nova smelled good. And I was trying to see if she wanted to stay in the house with me. And she found a tennis ball that I used for my plantar fasciitis and took it to the door and basically looked at me like, "Let me out now." And so she just cleaned the pure snow white fur on this dog and takes this ball out and goes to the part of the house where it's all red dirt. She might still at least smell good, but that's now the red dirtish, almost pink Dog Nova that's out there. It's great to have pets, isn't it? 9:33 in the morning. 888-825-5880-TALK. Jay Rojas online. Who else is there? Rudy Magallanes, who's going to be headed out tomorrow. Doesn't necessarily say where he's at. But wherever it is that you're going to have a safe trip. I think it was Rudy that mentioned that where Bitcoin is banging over 11,000 or 1,100? No, 11,000. It was hovering around 8.5 when we talked about Bitcoin last, right?
Yeah.
So he says it's been banging lately.
Yeah, it was up over 9 when we checked it on Thursday, just I think of 9,100 or something. So, yeah, it may be on the increase.
Yeah, well, you saw where the stock market was at 26,000. Oh, and 26.7 is where the stock market is, and it's only off by a little bit. I mean, it's possible that depending on what the conditions are tomorrow, we might be able to see. And it's been a while. I don't think we've been to 27,000 before, have we, on the Dow? I'd have to look that up and see where that is. Matt Cruz online. I say good morning to Marlon Molinos is there. Who else is playing around online? Xavier Atelig is online. Nick Perlowski talking about methamphetamines. No, that's not the real problem. The real problem here, buddy, is it's those damn balloons. What are we going to do about that balloon crisis? Good morning, Yuka Hechanova. Are you working? Are you on the job? Kaylia is online this morning. Always nice to see you and the pretty icons on the screen. Lola Calvo, as I said, is online. Andre Bainham. It's nice to see Andre's name there. Andre, he's one of those guys. He's just like, let's find a problem and actually solve it as opposed to talking about it. Chris from Big Abetta is online. Chris, we need a summit too. Aditha Camarillo, nice to see you hanging out there. Bob Camacho and Daryl Taggarty and Jess Limtiaco is there. He says, maybe crime has always been this bad. We just see it more because of the new surveillance camera technology and social media. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's been the case. I don't know that it necessarily would prevent me from underscoring it more just because we see it more. I mean, they made the same noise about when we started seeing a lot of these WhatsApp and semi-viral videos of kids fighting in the high schools, right? You know, a couple of big ones. I remember Tiedzen. There was one big fight that they had at Tiedzen where there was one kid that was actually taking another kid's head and hammering it against the concrete. And everybody lost their minds over that and said, my God, we've got this problem with kids fighting in schools. And the government needs to do something about it. And at the end of the day, you know what? It's really not been an increase in the number of kids fighting in schools. There's always been kids fighting in schools. You've been in some of them. And there's not one of us in my age group that doesn't remember the year that there was a riot at George Washington High School, and they found kids with forks bent over their knuckles in order to make the fight even bloodier. And you remember, and so this is the crazy part here. It was a girl fight. It was, because the guys will get in there and they'll duke it out. But, I mean, the chicks were bringing stuff, machetes and, like I said, brass knuckles and things like that to school. But there's always been that kind of thing. You know, is it possible that there has been that there has not been an increase in the number and kinds of crimes? It's just that we're more shocked by it because it's right there. It's not in something that is, I don't know, ethereal, like a newspaper article or a television story. It's just something there that's happened and we're writing about it, or there's a story about it. You know, it's something that you can actually see happening on your phone. Somebody sent you a video of the San Jose robbery, and you're going, it has a bigger impact because I can see the guy with a machete. I can see the guy with a gun, and it is almost like I'm watching it happening to me. I am there because the video is that clear. It's that sharp.
Yeah, interesting you bring this up because it describes really the impact between what we see and what we take in now on social media compared to how we took these things in years ago, which, again, newspaper and TV. And when you see it on newspaper, see it in the newspaper, see it on the TV, you think of it as being something that's almost produced for your enjoyment and your information, your entertainment. But when it comes across your news feed on Facebook, oh, my God, this is real life.
Yes.
And it completely changes the perspective.
And I don't know that it exaggerates it.
No,
but it certainly is a little bit more of a visceral feeling, if you want to use that word. It becomes something that you can feel. When these guys, if you watch the video, you see the guys and you see them walk in there with the machete. You almost go, wow, what if that was me? How would you have reacted? There was another video that was thrown viral that everybody thought was around here at a sporting goods store where there's a guy hits this woman in the back of the head.
Clocks her.
Yeah. And you look at that, and I could not rewatch it.
Yeah, I couldn't.
I mean, I saw it once, and I could almost feel you almost hear what it sounded like, right? And you watch the video, there's no sound. It's just it's the surveillance camera. And there's no sound that I know of on the video with San Jose, other than the whatever breathing in the background, the guy that was shooting the screen. So it's that visceral feeling that we get when we watch these things, and so maybe it is some of that. We are getting more of these videos. We are seeing more of these crimes that are being committed right there, literally in the palm of our hands or on a Facebook screen, and those images. As you know, you're watching me on Facebook Live. It's powerful. It's a very powerful thing. And And what can be done about it now? I don't know. There's more. I've actually got the video. We don't need to play the audio, but I'll give you another example of a video that was out there. Is that it? No, that's the commercial for that's the commercial for Island Eye. Where's the one with the guy? Where's the guy getting tased? No, not that one. That's the one. So here's a video here of a dude getting himself tased. It's about a minute and a half worth of the video, and the guy's arguing with the cops. Now, in my mind, is the first mistake. So the guy shooting the video is off on the side, right? And he's shooting it at basically the same angle. So literally, you are there. And if you watch this on a phone, you put the camera out there right there in front of you. So you are there. So you've got the guy, and he's squaring off against the cops, and the cops, in my mind, are showing just an incredible amount of restraint as this guy is walking around and showing tough. They have reached into the bed of his truck and already got the gun case, and there's the shot. Where the guy actually gets tased, right? And you can feel him hit the ground, right? And there's something about that bag of bones just going pow.
Get up! It's Jesus Day.
I know you've been waiting all day for me to play that video, huh? But so there in and of is the thing. So if it leads me to talking about these things in exaggerated and breathy tones, it's because I think I can feel them more than I used to from just reading magistrate reports. 9:42 in the morning, 888-825-888-TALK. So I've got basically 2 sheets of paper here for today's program, and some of it is stuff that we were talking about today, the machete and the gun guy, the church that has been burglarized now over and over again, conversation about a pause over at the firing range, and then there's another comment. We weren't able to get anybody on to talk about it this morning, but there's this conversation that is taking place about the Hagåtña restoration and rebuild or whatever, the whole authority that they've got going on there. Anybody knows me and my family history knows that I like to refer to Hagåtña as the village that I primarily grew up in. Grandma and Granddaddy had a store there, and we'd get dumped off Friday after school and just stay there all weekend long. And we had a regular house that we lived in, but that was the regular house. That wasn't the fun place. The fun place was at Grandma's house because it was Hagåtña, and there was cool things happening in the downtown Hagåtña area that was fun. So anyway, they're talking about doing all kinds of things and an 8-phase deal. So we are in the phase where we talk about the 8 phases to come in the rebuild of the downtown Hagåtña area. And I still haven't seen whatever the plan is. I saw this this fancy and a very expensive looking video that was floating around a couple of years ago. It's where they're flying in from the Paseo, from the water over the Paseo, and then they kind of go over to where Skinner Plaza is, and you got the museum, and you got the legislature building, and you got the church, and then there's all these new additional things that they had proposed in this pretty expensive looking video that was shot. And I remember looking at that, trying to sort out how I felt about all of that and who we needed to talk to. And I wonder sometimes in my own head, the big deal that is being made about trees and the flora and the fauna and the rocks over where the military is putting that firing range and their housing together, and everybody wants to examine every blade of grass for its cultural integrity down there to make sure that we're not doing things that our ancestors would disapprove of if they cared to speak. See, there's that, and there's all these people that are focused on that. And I wonder when we start talking about digging up Hagåtña, whether there will be the same call for preservation in the downtown Hagåtña area. But now I'll use this as an example. And I remember being on the air and being just unbelievably torqued off at the legislature for allowing it to happen. When they bulldozed the old administration building in Hagåtña, you get the post office over here, and then you got the old police precinct, former police precinct, on the other side, and across the front doors of the old police precinct used to be the administration building. And for many years, it was the center of the government of Guam. Became the Department of Education after a while. But when I was a kid, that's where you went and saw Marie Duenas, who was the treasurer of Guam, and that's where you went to go and get your driver's license examination or 50 other things that occurred there in the government of Guam, as it was a centralized process. And it was a building come up, in the 50s or 60s, and had a certain aesthetic that I don't know I liked. I mean, that was where the governor's office was for years. Ricky Medallo was there until they moved it to Adelup. Former Governor Calvo was there. The original first elected governor of Guam, Carlos Camacho, that's where his office was. And my father did press work for Carlos and Kurt, and that's where he worked. And I remember visiting him there on many occasions. So in my mind, I got a lot of love for what I consider to be a historic building, a historic element of the history of Guam in the downtown Agutya area, and without any ceremony, without any look at any kind of current heritage that the building might have, they went after that with all kinds of equipment and took it down to its foundation. And to this day, nothing has been put back up there. To this day, they've not gone in and built the Palazzo, which was what they said they were going to be doing with it. You can't even put food trucks on there. You remember that a couple of years ago? There were a couple of guys that braved the idea of taking their food truck and parking it on the foundation, which would have been perfect, was perfect, is perfect, if we're not doing anything else with it. Oh, no. People over at the legislature, don't you dare. That's ours. You're not allowed to do anything like that up there. So in my mind, as I say, we've got all these people that are just bedwetting about what's going on in land that none of them, I don't know, that ever really cared about. And only care about it now because they want to look like they're squaring off against Uncle Sam and the military. It's optics in my mind, but now they're talking about wholesale changes that may be being made in our capital city. And I will bet you money that there won't be the same kind of scrutiny on the old buildings and the old streets that many of us have come to know and love as downtown Agutya. I bristle at the idea that they will take that old police department and knock it down to the ground and put a parking structure on it. Or worse, some of the other ugly architecture that we've got floating around these days. 9:48 in the morning. How's Carl?
Good morning, Ray.
Buddy.
Yeah, I've been watching this developing situation, about the... First it was, talking about pausing. Now it's about halting. I believe that's the long-term... The real aim is to stop the military construction. And I find it ironic because, how many thousands of...
Let's bring more poor people to Guam instead of people that actually have jobs. Yeah. And we might even be able to bring some people in with some skills in industries we haven't thought about yet or aren't pondering right now. But yeah, let's bring in more poor people that don't have jobs and don't have any career opportunities from the other islands. Let's do that.
Yeah, according to Senator Klitsky, what's at stake here? I've heard him say anywhere from 1,500 to 2,500 jobs, and the bulk of that is probably going to be local hire. So these are going to be taxpayers. They're going to be supporting families. So it's I just find it a real head scratcher as to why this is. How many thousands of projects have gone on for decades, and how much pottery shards and everything has been damaged and covered up, and no one's raised a ruckus. But the difference is this is the military, and that is the reason why the U.S. is on Guam. And I think the intent is if they can break the military and eventually expel them, that will help to further the separatist movement.
Yeah, you know what, and there are some people that would say what a great and mythic cause that is, and then it should be pursued in the name of an independent Guahan. But I think in this case, it's just optics. It's just, hey, look, it's we realize that in another 6 months we're going to need to start talking about re-election.
Yeah, I'm all for preserving our history, cataloging it, storing it wherever it's possible, and it's important to display it, helping people to be conscious of the past and what has happened and where we came from. But it's almost like there's a concerted effort to drag us back into the past, living in the past. It's just, again, it's really a head scratcher to me, the cultures that we're exposed to, including American culture, the Chamorro people and other local residents, they pick and choose what will improve their lives.
Mm-hmm.
That's whether it's use of language. My mother, unfortunately, did not teach me Chamorro when I was little, and I deeply regret that, because that's the perfect opportunity to learn a second language. So I'm just, I think that we seem to be heading backwards into the past, and I think we need to look forward into the future. And this development means jobs for, potentially what will affect over 2,000 families.
Yeah,
and that is the future.
The scary thing is we don't. I'm more and more concerned as each day goes by, and I look at some of the headlines and some of the measures that are being proposed, and as you say, scratching my head, wondering about all this stuff, because that ain't why I voted for some of these people, and specifically folks that I did not want to win that are in office now have made personally my predictions come true. We've got Joe St. Augustine has never met a tax he didn't like, and now is talking about, while I was gone, talking about putting that online purchase thing together again. Like it's not already difficult in order to get goods and services delivered to Guam. Now we're going to have to suffer through trying to deal with companies that won't want to be in a position where they're paying taxes on our behalf.
And the fact that they're proposing that is a result of the legislature being unwilling to do the hard work of government reform. And, repositioning agencies, finding duplications, inefficiencies. Senator Frank Uggan tried to do that before he left office, and his efforts were squelched, So the whole reason they're doing that is to prop up a bloated and inefficient government that badly needs reform. And they're putting that on the back of the consumers. Buying online is the future, and that is how we save costs. I've bought car parts online, and they are 1/10 of buying them locally. And that may not be come across as being loyal to local businesses, but I've got to survive, and so do others.
Right. Well, and so in fact, when the conversations that they have will increase the business privilege tax, which is not which is a tax that the businesses obviously are passing on to the consumers, therefore making off-island online purchases that much more attractive. And then they have the temerity to come back and say, well, the cost of living has gone up, so we got to do a wage adjustment. We've got to do an increase in the minimum wage on Guam because people can't make ends meet. Well, we can't make ends meet because you raised the dang taxes last year, and you raised the liquid fuels tax. What do you think was going to be the outcome of that? And it amazes me that they can't see the connection between A and B.
Yeah, and as often happens with government,
But hey, balloons and vaping, that's my God, that's the real sin in this community. That's what we've got to get a handle on.
And it's like government tends to be the black knight and cause problems through bad legislation, and then they go and change into the white knight and say, I'm going to rescue you from these problems which they caused in the first place.
Ding, 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 ding. And that, my friend, will be the point of the Ray Gibson show here and into an eternity, is helping these guys see the bigger picture if they want to pay attention. Hey, dude, I gotta run. Speaking of big pictures, I got to change this one and stick up some commercials, all right?
Okay, thanks, Ray. Thanks for letting me chat.
No, always fun talking with you, Carl. Have a great morning. It's 9:55. Be right back.
Hey, welcome to this Subway ad for the new club collection. How do you want it? I'll take a book club. Absolutely.
So, last week we sunk our teeth into Subway's meaty new release, the Steak Club.
I didn't finish it yet.
Oh, not again, Sandra. This week, it's the new Southwest Chicken Club, also by Subway. No spoilers, but there's a tasty twist.
Jalapeno cheddar bread and guacamole?
Sandra, get out. Subway, make it what you want.
Good ending.
Limited time only at participating restaurants.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 data-to-go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The US, China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is data-to-go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
What happened? 9:56. Do I have time? I do. Tomas, buenas janafade.
How are you?
Maulik.
You know those 13 idiotic senators that signed off on that resolution? They are just thinking about re-election. They really don't care about the culture and the heritage and the artifacts. They're only thinking about the election coming up. They're going to use it as a campaign that they're going to say, oh, we were fighting for you. We were fighting for our culture, etc., etc. They really don't care. And don't let them lie to you that they're not anti-military. They're all anti-military, except for those two that did not sign off. That's all I got to say, my friend.
Actually, the Daily Post did it by showing the ones that did sign on. I want to say there's only about 9 or 10 of them, and I don't have that list in front of me. But we'll see now. We'll see, and not only is it possible that that they were there for the optics to be able to say, look, we squared off, we put our shoulders and rolled our shoulders, we squared off against Big Bad Uncle Sam and the U.S. military because the tree, and then when somebody came around and said, this is going to cost locals their jobs, this is going to cost some businesses opportunities to be able to work with the military and be able to employ more local people. Might be a couple that were able to make that kind of correction, and now they've got to find a way to walk it back. So it will be interesting to see the two faces of some of these people. So keep an eye out for the names of the people that signed on and then took their names off because it would no longer appear politically expedient. Okay.
And those are the same ones that are going to be crying that we don't have enough revenues. They're not thinking of how much more Section 30 money we're going to get when these Marines actually get here. Okay, thank you.
Good point. Good point, Miguel. I'll talk to you pretty soon. It's, 10. It's 10? It's 10 o'clock? We've made it to the end of this program already? Well, close enough to the end. Not bad for first day back. And unfortunately, I was unable to get to everything else that I wanted to talk about. Looks like there might be somebody that has been selected to build our next power generation facility to the tune of $160 million or something like that. It's a big, big project. And it is supposed to be some kind of life changer and all of this. And so looking forward to hearing about them. Apparently, the bidders know more than us in this case. It must be personnel information involved in here because they're not letting us know officially that it was a company out of Korea that won the bid to build it up. But we'll wait until there's some kind of official word coming down from the Power Authority. Hey, look, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and I got to stop talking now because this is all they pay me for. I'll be back with you tomorrow in the program, where we'll have more adventures and play around with more buttons and see if there's if there's something new to outrage us in the morning's headlines. Resolution. I wonder if they've gotten that off yet. I wonder if that's started yet. Kevin left early in order to be there, and at 9 o'clock, it still had not started because they're still trying to figure out how to walk it back. 10 a.m. on KUSG. Gutnya. My name is Ray Gibson. For Michael Knight, Kevin Kerrigan, Blake Watson, everybody else, thanks very much for watching or listening to the program. I'll see you tomorrow.
They're not rounding up migrants.